Basically, gonna log in and then do some
slower. So the slowest
shit.
guest is an hour.
Currently, it's the slowest.
Watching Cargos currently.
The winner
Thing.
gets a PS5
Discussion.
from Cargos, right?
Max Aramis.
Yeah, from Surfshark and Juju Energy, right?
You get a pallet of Juju energy.
Yeah.
Don't have very long to play.
All right, Dranis, what's your guess though? Finally.
I and
I'll
fishing.
do 1 hour 30.
1 hour 30. Okay. I'll go 1:15. All right. Chat, screenshot your guess. We'll see what happens here. So I do have a speedrun pulled up from the private servers.
Let's watch that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be. So this is 1 hour 8 minutes, guys. Fastest Naxxramas 40 ever.
So
Guess who it is?
yeah,
Chat?
we're gonna do
Guess
some
who did it?
fishing. Guess we logged out here. I don't remember
This is the
why.
best one I could find.
Maybe a quest or two.
This is
I
it.
think I know.
You're correct.
I don't think we have enough time to do it.
This is it.
Okay.
One thing I would mention again
Oh,
though, is
I think we was.
the timer started at a different time on these, so it's not
timer,
perfectly
yeah.
an hour and 8 minutes because the timer's not starting until patchwork.
A big deal.
So they're cutting out all of that,
I know,
that patch beforehand. But I mean, technically it is an hour 8 minutes, but the timer
Go
starts
to-
differently on private servers.
Oh,
No problem.
I see. So on Real Classic, it starts as soon as you kill the first trash, but on private
Just
servers,
want to hit
As
up
soon as
the
you pull the first trash.
Yeah.
fishing trainer.
The first engage.
Okay. All right, I'll pull it up. Yeah, I actually have it here, so we can actually maybe watch it.
We're only doing this because we don't have that much time.
But this should be harder, right, than classic.
I thought we could just start fishing for a while, for a bit.
The widely accepted.
Only got about
Yeah, the Lightbringer PTR was significant.
hour and a half, something like that.
Which
After a decent amount of
I
fishing.
think most people in classic,
Get that
especially
out of the
speedrun
way.
guilds, would say they wish that we were playing a more difficult version of the game than we have been.
Well, a lot of the top speed
Watching
at least
background
people
as well.
that I'm in communications with,
What about?
they kind of miss the days of.
Well, they're discussing the whole Naxxramas
This
clear
private
time and stuff.
server is really quite old, so not
I
a lot of
assume.
people
I just
remember, but
recently jumped in.
There was a private server called Phoenix Warzone, and on this private server, all of the bosses had like 50 to.
If he
100%
trains you, that
more
means you can just
HP,
fish here, right?
50 to 100% more
Presumably.
damage. So it was actually a private server where you really had to progress through the
These-
boss fights and actually gear your characters
Oh.
for that duration
the
encounter
hole.
rather than bursting
Yes.
things down. So we're all hoping that things are harder than what they should be, but
Last time we just shoved this
sadly,
here.
so far in classic things
Ah.
have been easier. But we all
Rip
wish
that.
it was a little step above, and maybe
Skill.
maybe if we all cross our fingers and pray to Santa Claus, we can get a classic plus server with increased difficulties.
Going on.
But that's only
Just gonna
really
sit here,
if
listen
we're
to that
friends with the
stream,
Tooth Fairy
and
and
chill.
we can work our connections.
Really? We're too low?
So I have it up right here. I mean, I don't know how we want to do this. The dude has like 9 bazillion buffs on. This is what can we take away from just watching this speed run? Is there anything that comes to mind? Sorry, I'm sure you've watched this maybe on stream before.
Yeah, I managed to get one.
I was probably muted. I've watched it before, but I actually didn't watch it on stream. I was going to, and then Shadowlands took a lot of my attention. But the first thing to take away is definitely like the way to do speedruns back then was absolutely.
Okay, I guess we're missing too much.
Patchwork first. or
Maybe
the
we're not
inline
into do it
first,
there.
for sure. Because, like I
Kinda waste-
mentioned, because of the timer starting at a
Bubble a
different
bit, but
time, they do have
I think we'll just run out to do it and
buffs
start there somewhere.
and even here, like it's almost intimidating.
Yeah,
exactly,
cast
they're limit
too much
testing the
otherwise.
buffs for sure, and you're always
Kind
limit
of.
testing buffs. There's actually a Moonkin in this group, and you can see that's the buff right next to Onyxia. It just went away for a second. He probably ranged the Moonkin, but so he's actually getting a crit buff from a Moonkin. So that is useful because they're basically planning on going for these huge ignites on Lotheb. So it's going to be interesting to see which buffs everyone uses. Alliance or Horde have these short buffs from in the Barons Camp T. You can get this.
Yeah, if I don't
huge
talk
buff
much,
that
it's
gives you, like,
probably because we're
30%
listening
extra,
into
like,
what they're saying about
armor.
the
It's
max
not
run
base
Shard
armor,
buff?
It's
They get
crazy.
that?
happening.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
it's so strong.
Yeah, it's pre-calculation. It's very, very good.
So somebody
Yeah.
in the chat said
Very
something
interesting how
really
hyped up
important.
people
I
can
think
get,
it's
so
important, though. They're saying that in this
to
speedrun,
watch
it's
guilds
going
clear
over
stuff.
Full Bis Nax gear. How How much of a
For me, it's kind of like
you guys think versus what the gear they have?
double-edged sword. Like, you don't want to see them clear it that quickly because it just puts the content to
It's not
shame.
going to be the difference between 2 hours and 1
But
hour.
at the same time,
But Nax gear
kinda
is,
do,
like
right?
we all know,
Wanna see how
extremely powerful.
far
So
people
powerful
can
that
push
you can use
things.
a lot of it through TBC up until Karazhan. So it does make a difference, but it's not going to be the difference of like 50% of the time or anything like that. But something that is important to mention is not only is the server a little bit more difficult, but also on this server there isn't technically a buff cap. In Classic WoW, there's a buff cap of 32 buffs, as we all know, but on Lightbringer, there was a technical buff cap, although you could go over the buff cap and those buffs would just be hidden, but you would still obtain the effect. So you can see here that they're not really caring about their buffs too much, because they can technically go for as many buffs as they want. And something that also happens in these speedruns back on the private servers is, since there was no limit to the buff cap, you could make macros for your casters, hunters, healers, etc. to be using Juju Flurry, and constantly be using Juju Flurry on your melee over and over and over, and there was no damage penalty for using Juju Flurry on your melee as well.
How about Juju Energy?
Juju Energy was a little bit too overpowered, so they ended up banning it for the speedruns because it cut the speedrun from 1 hour down to 20 minutes.
That's great.
Yeah, it was a little bit too strong.
Yeah,
Yo,
it's too OP.
So why is there 5 warlocks in here though? Like, this is talk to me about this. Secret Salad Baker's strats. There's 4 mages or 5 mages, 5
Well,
warlocks. That doesn't seem.
They set this record so late into the server that I really think their roster was limited, their player base was limited. I don't see any scenario where, if you're truly going for a simulated,
Just want to make sure we can cook
perfect
this.
run, like the best run you can
Yeah, we have.
possibly
Good.
do, I don't see you
If
ever
this is what we're
bringing
going to be
Brimstone,
catching.
and I don't see you bringing 5.
And I want to level fish
And
cooking at the same time.
Warlocks do gain a lot of power in Nax Rammus gear, but like I said before, Warlocks, the more strategies you utilize where you're doing hard AoE, mages carry that, not Warlocks. Warlocks carry in scenarios where you have multiple targets that are spread out and you can't cleave them down, you can't AoE them. That's where Warlocks shine. And we did have some of those strategies back on Lightbringer when the server was a bit more difficult and you couldn't cleave as many things. But on Classic, it's proven that these raids are a bit easier rather than difficult. So I suspect that we're going to see more of the stack and AoE method, which means Warlocks are a little bit weaker. So you're asking about the roster in this run. I would say that the roster and the raid composition in this run is not the ideal run, even though this is technically the record so far.
Yeah, and one other thing some people are pointing out to me, which is it might not be a boomkin, it could just be the ATS aura, which would make sense. Although running a boomkin is fine because your druid is mostly just there for fairy fire bots. That's pretty much the reason to bring druids to speedruns.
Dude, I just forgot about that. Isn't the ATS aura like so OP though? It doesn't give each class gets a different aura, right? And it gives you some massive amount of spell power. Or the crit one is the most strong one, right? Isn't it like 5 crit or something?
It's 2 crit, and the spell power one's the best one.
Oh, spell power one's the best one. But yeah, that seems pretty big.
Yeah, and that's most likely what it is. I mean, we haven't seen a boomkin so far. We haven't seen an actual laser turkey walking around. So it was probably just an Antaeus aura. I couldn't imagine that they would bring a boomkin. That would be very odd.
I see. Are we gonna see a druid tank, or no?
I think there's 0% chance in one of these runs we see a druid tank.
Okay.
Alive?
I agree. Druid tanks, they're good at soaking purely physical damage, but they're not that good pretty much anywhere else comparatively to warrior tanks. So since where they're good at is such a narrow position, I don't believe it's worth bringing in the first place.
You will see a druid tank if you watch Def Camp stream tonight, though. We do have a druid tank. Sorry, druid tank.
Well, Taladrill, remember back in the day, he was saying that he tanked pretty much everything except for the spider boss because you need shield wall for that as a bear tank. So it can be done. It's not like you can't do it. But it's just not good for the speedrun, I guess.
No, yeah.
Yeah. What else are you when you look at a speedrun? What do you even look for, man? I don't really know quite how to appreciate it like you guys know how to do. Like as you're watching this play out here.
A big difference here between like what we'll see today, most likely, is going to be the pacing, right? You can see that they wait in between each pull. They're all all of their mages are pyroblasting one specific target, and they're like precasting on their pull. But even then, pacing is massive overall for times in speedruns. So that's going to be something that is really important. That's something that actually held back quite a few of the guilds going for world first or world record pace for AQ, was having a hunter moving forward almost at all times, pulling the group into you. And there's some pulls in this raid especially that you don't want to do too much of, just bringing them into you because you want to deal with them in a specific way. But pacing is probably potentially one of the most important things in a speed run, and a hunter puller, especially in AQ, could absolutely make or break a world record.
And luckily, it looks like we do have some hunter POVs for multiple guilds, right?
Yeah.
So we are going to see firsthand the pacing of some of these guilds, which is going to be very, very interesting.
I'm stoked to look at the one you showed me. Shout out to Cloud Bells. Cloud Bells, that's the hunter from Progress. He's gonna be streaming. We'll take a look at his.
I think another important thing, because we're watching this replay and we're kind of using it to guess how things are going to go today. Like what Sarth was saying, they're not on a clock right now in this replay, because the clock for private server speedruns didn't start until they, I think, engaged the first boss. So the pace they're going at that we're watching right now, it's probably slower than we'll see other groups go through here. But that being said, these are some of the scariest trash packs in the entire raid. So even though they're going a little bit slower because they don't necessarily have to be pushing pace right now, these are packs where I could see the highest potential for raid wipes when we end up actually watching the real runs later.
So on these private servers, though, they didn't have any of the tech that you're talking about, moist towelette, petrification. That wasn't discovered yet.
So we knew about moist towelette, and actually, a funny story about Flask of Petrification. At least in the guilds I was playing in, I brought up Flask of Petrification a few times, and I'm not trying to call out anyone in particular, but I brought it up a few times, and they're like, "Wow, that costs way too much gold, and it's way too try hard. We're not going to bother with that." And now look where we are, total degen mode.
Look at all the battle chickens out, dude. That's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen,
man.
This is a legendary boss right here. None other than Patchwork, where his only mechanic is he slaps, other than the Hateful Strike, right? But
this is another super interesting one, because Patchwork on private servers worked different than he did, at least on the PTR. And I have heard that there have been some like adjustments to Patchwork, but you're watching all these melee go in and out of the ooze right here to drop health, because Hateful Strike on private servers was 100% your health. So the health based, yeah. Versus from what we've seen on the PTR, it's also threat based. So I'll be interested to see if anyone does this like step in the ooze to drop health strategy when we're watching the runs later today, because I think it's a scary thing to do, knowing that if you go above any of the Hateful Strike tanks, you might eat a strike, and you might want to have that health in case that happens.
Right. Yeah, we didn't even do it on the PTR when we were testing it, dip. So I don't think we're going to see people dip. But, never know for sure.
You could also see if DBM is working properly with the Hateful Strike is on a timer instead of RNG based, then you could see people using lips if they're above on aggro, so a limited invulnerability potion so that they can't pull aggro for 6 seconds, and then they won't take a physical damage. Or even if somebody's way too high on threat, a Petri Flask and a cancel or a macro. So we're going to see potentially consumables could come in play a lot. It's going to be interesting to see the amount of flasks used, or the amount of cheesy consumables in general. It's going to be an expensive run for everyone.
He enrages right at the end, right? Could he just global somebody when he enrages right at the end, do you think? Doesn't he enrage? Isn't that the thing about Patchwork, like 10% or something?
Yeah.
He does enrage. I don't think any guild is going to see it.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think that you're going to see any globals if the people are playing intelligently, which all of these tanks know what they're doing. Obviously, the higher the risk you go up in damage potential from the boss, the more defensively you need to play. So they'll probably specifically be trying to save potions or swapping to a shield later on if he ends up enraging and things of that nature. You need to adjust retroactively.
The Frogger. This is the infamous Frogger.
Oh my god.
I hope
Imagine if somebody dies
to
in one of these
Frogger.
speed runs to this.
I hope somebody dies to Frogger. It's gonna be one of the most hilarious things ever, and that person's never gonna live it down.
Well,
Yeah,
the
it's
best,
awesome. Yeah, go ahead, please.
the best Frogger deaths are, I think, on Alliance, and it's when a pally bubbles and just runs straight through, and someone is just too close,
Yeah.
and so the pally pops one of them, and it ends up killing someone who was gonna just like skirt by. Like,
Yeah.
What
that's
you get?
really-
You get one shotted if you touch it, or does it like two shot you?
I think it.
It should be a one shot.
Yeah, it should be one shot.
Damn.
And you don't
that's
even
so
have to touch
crazy.
it. That's the scary thing is if you're close enough and someone else touches it, it can get you killed.
What's
That's
really
so
going to be
crazy.
funny to me is going to KT and seeing if anyone stands in fissure. That is the mechanic. By the way, you guys, for everyone in chat, if you mess up on it, just make sure out of any mechanic in Naxxramas, do not mess up to fissure. And if someone in your guild stands in fissure and dies on KT, flame them for the rest of time.
What is that again? Fisher?
It puts a big glowing red circle on the ground, and all you need to do is listen. It's pretty complex. All right.
Okay,
move-
I'm listening. All right.
You move out of the circle. It's crazy.
That's it.
It's crazy.
That's it.
That's the classic mechanic, right? Move out of the.
You would
Out of
be
the circle.
surprised how many people cannot manage to move outside of the big glowing circle. It's pretty groundbreaking.
Yeah, that sounds pretty tough, man. I gotta say. What about? I see a skeleton there too. What about necromancer type effect items? Do those play a role in speedruns? Like, can't you go in and just pop your Oni books and pop all that stuff too? Is that just like a given?
It's almost a waste of a trinket slot, or like even the like an offhand slot potentially. The only thing useful could be like the battle chicken, but mostly you're swapping trinkets at this point so often that that's like a 30-second cooldown or the timer until you can use your next on-use trinket. What do you think, Alive?
I don't think it's really worth it. It really messes up your trinket cooldowns, especially for classes that really, really heavily rely on your trinket cooldowns, like warriors, for example, one of the most important classes in the run. And the payoff for it is really, really quite low. It's more of a super min-max type of thing that you do later on in your farm runs, rather than an actual speedrun tech. Because even if everyone in the raid does it flawlessly, and you do it as many times as you can in any given speedrun scenario, it's only going to change your clear time by maybe a second or two.
So we probably won't have time to watch this entire speedrun because, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, maybe, allegedly, Naxxramas, the final raid of Classic WoW, KT will be killable in 12 minutes time, allegedly. We'll see. But is there any fights we should look at maybe in this? This is the existing record, by the way, Salad Baker speedrun, for those in the chat who doesn't know, 1 hour, 8 minutes. Any fights maybe that'll be interesting to take a look at and how Salad Bakers does it?
I think we should probably look at the big boy contenders, which is the last two bosses, Sephiron and KT.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about
The
Four Horsemen? Is that going to be hard, do you think, for them?
I think for
Um,
any of these guilds in the world race, they have Four Horsemen down to a science. Like, it is... Four Horsemen, you could even take it very slowly. It's not one of those fights that's too scary if you take it slow. So everyone in a guild that's not doing world record pacing, you can take this fight slowly. Just move away from the auras, and as long as you do that, you will be fine.
Okay. All right, so Four
Yeah,
Horsemen.
it's-
maybe not too bad.
It's definitely one of those fights where once you practice it, I don't think guilds will have a problem with it. It's
Here it
sort
is,
of like a
guilds.
Viscidus thing almost, where once guilds figure out like, oh, you just have to do things at the right time, then you're not going to lose a single person. It's going to be pretty easy. But guilds that haven't had that time to practice it, similar to Viscidus, like they're probably gonna have a lot of deaths. They're probably gonna have a lot of wipes.
There it is, guys. There's Sapphiron's Lair. Pretty epic room, man. This is the one with the ice blocks. You have to hide behind the ice blocks. Really cool fight. A lot of us remember this from Wrath here. So, what are we looking for here on Sapphiron?
Well, this is one of the fights where you're really going to start to want to use your Moist Towelettes, so you can get rid of the magic debuff that he puts on you continuously. And then
so that's it's a big one.
Other than that, we're basically just going to see them equipping Frost Resistance and nuking the boss down as much as possible. And on this server, you could actually get away with quite low Frost Resistance. So in this kill right here, you'll see them cheesing with very, very low frost resist. And remember, this is with full Nax Bis, so not only do they have extremely strong weapons, but they also have the perfect frost resist setups, where they have such good trade-offs in frost resist versus AP, crit, etc. in value with these glacial items or the frost resist items that drop off random bosses, that really they can get away with wearing only just 2 to 3 items and just going all full out DPS in all the other slots.
Yeah, and that's something we could chat a little bit about, because these guys have all the Nax gear, they have all the best frost resist pieces. So all the craftable stuff that actually has real stats, it has high frost resist. All the guilds that we see go in today are going to have these makeshift frost resist sets that are not going to be as optimal as this. So Saffron is going to be a much different experience for guilds today than what we're seeing right here.
Yeah, and you can see like they have like Juju's up with the frost. Someone died to that. 2 people died to that mechanic, which is very easy to dodge. On the live client, I don't know if it was, because I actually didn't look, but on the live client, when Saffron goes up into the air, the only thing you can hit him with are like your yellow attacks, so your special abilities. So you pretty much can do a little bit of damage, but you can't just sit there and keep DPSing the boss. You're mostly going to get into position to hide from the ice block and the AoE damage. And then another thing there is you can see they already have like their Jujus, but yeah, the frost res gear is so much better, and a lot of guilds are probably going to see a kind of a hard wall when they run into Saf for the first time if they don't have enough frost res, or if they don't have frost res at all. And the interesting thing is we're going to see these guilds run into Saf. They're still going to have world buffs, so that's going to make a huge difference in their DPS, where they can burn it a lot faster than having more frost res. And also, within the next couple weeks, everyone will get a ton of really good frost resistance gear from the raid itself and from the craftable gear. So if there's anyone in chat that's like worried about killing this boss and they struggle really hard week 1, this is absolutely going to get easier.
Looks like they have. Is that the Valentine's buff they have there?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah.
They have the kitchen sink for this run.
I love that.
So yeah, they're not gonna have that there. What does it do again? The Valentine's Day?
2% hit for one of them, the dark chocolate.
There's the chocolate buffs, which have like the melee hit percentage, there's caster damage, and then there's defense. And you can use all of them, so I think you'll see 2 on this guy, and I think this is a DPS warrior, so he probably has the defense and the melee hit percentage. And then you can also see those present buffs over by his ZG buff. Those are also Valentine's buffs, and those are just stat buffs that actually, on most private servers, you get those stat buffs, and they're like 30, I think you can get 30 to Agi and 30 to Strength, and they stacked with Blasted Lance, which they don't on Classic. I figured that out the hard way after farming a billion of them.
It is interesting that there are differences between the private server and Classic, and one noteworthy difference, well, I don't know if it's noteworthy, but there will still be at least, how many hunters? 2, just at minimum. They're going to get ranged attack power from a lot of extra stuff that they never had before on any of the private servers. So Oni's going to give them ranged attack power. They're going to get it from, I think, the Jujus, right?
Diremal power,
Tribute.
yeah. And they also get the tier 8 3-piece, which is irrelevant for today.
Right. Yeah. But so that'll be nice. Some extra. I don't know how much percent of increase in damage it's going to be for Hunter.
Add it all up, if you eat, including the Paladin or Shaman APs, it's 380 attack power.
It ends up being, I know I've got a warrior symbol next to my name, but I'm a hunter true at heart. It ends up being like a 10 to 15% increase in your total damage. So these buffs that we got from Rallying Cry, from Diremal Tribute, from Juju Might, it's like getting a DMF buff. So it's a pretty insane buff. I don't think you're going to see any more hunters brought to Nax today or in the future with these top guilds because of it, but it's a nice little bone that Blizzard threw our way.
Yeah, it's not going to change the meta, but it is a welcomed buff to the hunter class. Unfortunately, they didn't really think too in-depth about the hunter class back when they actually were releasing Nax Ramus. I wish that they would have made something like the tier 3 set bonus gives you a bonus where 30% of your ranged attack power goes to your pet, or something like that to buff the hunter class, because I think the hunter class really didn't get enough love in the classic expansion.
Well, that all changes come TBC, right? cool thing too is the best weapon in the game ever for hunters drops off this guy, the Ruby Slave Maker, the big slapper. So they're done with the game. They get that. Man, look at it. This room. I haven't seen this room in a minute. What a cool boss fight, huh? So is
For
KT
hunters,
that hard relative to the other fights? Is it really truly the hardest fight of Naxxramas, or you think, if you had to choose one fight, gun to your head, that is the hardest?
I think that the mechanics in this fight are probably the most punishing mechanics out of any of the fights. It's not like you can accidentally mess up one of these mechanics and you're gonna be okay. You can just heal through it. If you don't manage the mind controls are gonna kill people. If your melee are spread out and not stacked in their groups, you're gonna have a problem with the ice block mechanics. You're gonna have a problem with your healers if they accidentally forget to shackle one of the Anubisath soldiers or the bug boys. And a lot of these mechanics, like I said, it's not so much that they're really, really difficult mechanics. It's more so that if you don't manage these mechanics properly, they're going to be too devastating to really try to recover from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are multiple mechanics, and they differ depending on what class you're playing. So, like Alive was saying, priests have shackling assignments in addition to making sure that they repop a Greater Frost, that they don't stand in the void zones that come up. And then you've got mages needing to mind control to help CC mind control targets, or needing to polymorph. Like, a lot of different classes have a lot of different responsibilities, but then every class also has multiple things that they're looking out for.
A veritable smorgasbord of mechanics to deal with in this one. But that's the real thing. And to me, this is the hardest fight. Four Horsemen can be, but once you get it down, it's down, in my opinion.
Also, it's just a long duration fight, period. The AoE Frostbolt volley that he does in the later phases is going to create a lot of pressure for healers. So not only are they going to have to heal through that while managing their mana, which once again is going to be more taxing for the Horde players since they don't have Paladins on their team, but mana management and being able to recuperate from low amounts of mana if someone does something bad and messes up a mechanic is going to be really devastating.
Yeah, this is just a really long fight. Just because this first phase, we can all see, is just really long, and so mana management will be huge. But as long as people do their role well, it'll be good. But it's just not forgiving. Like everyone was mentioning, it's just not a forgiving fight if people don't know what they're doing and don't play well. If people are out of position, one melee out of position on the boss in phase 2 can freeze so many people, and that can ruin the world record or the world first.
Wow. We are allegedly 3 minutes out, folks, from the final raid tier of Classic WoW, man. I am stoked. We'll see. What are the chances it actually drops when it's supposed to?
Well, we're talking about the most reliable company that has ever been known to man, so I'm sure the launch is going to go flawless. I have no doubts in my mind.
Right? I think, was BWL late? Also, another question I've been meaning to ask you guys, too, is who won the Pass World first? Thinking back on it, I think Apes took MC, right? I remember that one pretty vividly.
Apes took MC. Progress tied for
Oh, we got a better chest.
Progress
Nice.
won. AQ opened at different times for all of the different phases. So Onslaught won for NA, Progress won for EU, and I think CN or Noobs won for China. I'm not 100% sure.
I think CN won, yeah.
CN won. There he is, the man. He's not a man. The Lich, Kel'Thuzad, right there.
The Lich, the myth, the legend.
Exactly.
And those circles are what I was talking about.
That's what I'm talking about there. Do not be the person that stands in those guys. Yeah. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
I even tested with full buffs on the PTR with the 3,000 and like health. Like you're no matter what, you're not living through that.
Tested.
Yeah, I tested it, dude. Limit test. I said it before I was gonna do it. It was clipped.
Oh, Grizzly's gonna. I don't know if Grizzly's going for it too. My man Ampi. I'm a big Grizzly fan too. I wonder if they're going for it. Looks like Ampi's streaming. I'm just scouting out a little bit to see who's getting ready. Dolly's live.
We got Stay Safe rooting for progress in the chat. Stay Safe, what about Power? You guys aren't competing for World First? Thought Power was number 1. It's Power, baby!
Oop. I gotta reload Salve stream. For some reason it stopped for me.
I'm looking at all. No one seems to be in or anything right now. As soon as we see people moving, guys, we'll get over to the main scene. In fact, we can go over there right now. Let's see here.
Hope everybody drank their Juju energy and is ready for this World First race. Let's go.
It's connecting Surfshark VPN as well.
Wow, he's got his guns out and everything. You guys see that? He's ready to go.
Yeah.
That's his racing tank.
4,800 people watching. I wonder how many people are going to be tuning in, man. This is crazy. Thanks everyone. Thanks very much everyone for being here. We have almost 3K on the YouTube side of things. We have almost 2K on the Twitch side of things. Really appreciate it. Should be a good time.
Absolutely. Thanks for all being here.
So people are asking about what teams we're going to follow. What teams are we going to follow? Guys, I'm going to ask the chat again. Who are you rooting for? Who you think's going to take it? Right off the bat, we got Apes over on the EU side of thing. Onslaught, Salad Bakers. We have Progress, of course. There's...
Does anyone in the chat have someone from Rise streaming it?
Dream State too.
Right, we're just going to cook now. It's going to take 3 minutes, 42 seconds. We're going to go get a drink.
Dream State, yeah.
Come back soon.
Dream State is going to be a good one.
Dream State. We have Dream State Lazanta. Lazanta's in Dream
Lazanta.
State. I thought he was in Apes or something.
Dreamstake is they're a sneaky guild, you know. They can be like 20th in rank for a speed run, and then all of a sudden they have one good run and they're like top 1, top 2, top 3. They're a sneaky guild. They can pull something out.
Yeah. So they're definitely one of them, and there's a chance, guys. I spoke with them before we got started here that Dolly might do a player interview with us after the dust settles, after they lose to Progress according to Alive. We'll see.
Well, Salve's live right now. He's not on the game, but he's live.
Yup. Everybody's just waiting, sitting tight.
The nerves for people must be going. And people are in.
No way.
Yep, people are logging in.
Here we go, boys.
Pre-Fox is on too. Pre-Fox, that's it.
Salad Baker's in. Nope. Rise is in.
Stream? Put a stream. If you see a stream in there that is live, go ahead and put it in our chat.
Yeah, which one's the Rise?
I just put it in our Discord.
Okay, sweet. We're going, folks.
You guys know the saying, first in, first to win.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, here we go, boys. We are in Nax, man. Let's go. Let's get some hype in the chat. Classic Nax. You're looking at
2 Warlocks, 5 Mages in this roster. So we were right in saying 2 Warlocks.
That's a lot of mages.
Exactly what you said.
Yep. 2 Warlocks, 5 Mages. So,
Hunters.
Since they're going for 5 Mages instead of 4 Mages, I would be suspecting some AoE pulls here utilizing the Mages. Typically, if you're not going for that much AoE, you want to opt for 4 Mages because that's enough to carry Ignite at least a little bit to make it profitable towards the raid damage output. But 5 Mages typically signifies that you're going to see some sort of AoE trash clearing.
Rise is going Plague, by the way, first.
Oh, I could have died right there.
Yeah, Plague Wing, first choice. That's an interesting one.
I'm seeing some other guilds are lagging on being able to get in. Onslaught was able to get in. Some guilds are stuck on the portal, fully lagging out. But Onslaught was able to get in.
Okay.
And this is going to make a massive, massive difference. No matter how skilled or good your run is, if you can't zone in, or even if you have 10 minutes latency on trying to get in, or issues trying to get in, it's really going to make or break your run.
So Onslaught's doing A-Bomb Wing first, it looks like.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's
so we're already seeing
what
some
I
differences.
anticipated from Horde, at least.
Yep. It's a small indie dev, guys. Gotta cut him some slack.
Yeah.
Notice that their Alliance Rise and they have War Chief's Blessing. I love that.
Oh, always.
Oh,
Cheaters?
yeah.
Who does that? That's cheating.
I don't know. Progress has some struggles with that.
No.
Let's check in on Onslaught.
We
too.
are seeing on Onslaught, we do see, as you can see, like if you pull it up on Dali's stream, he does have that buff that I was mentioning earlier called Razorhide. It looks like a Thorns buff, and that is just for extra armor. It's just mitigation. It's basically having a stone shield on at all times.
Ooh, that's amazing. When you put it like that, it sounds really good.
Yeah, it's really
it's
good.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the 10 minutes you have it, it's that might be a reason why they're doing this wing.
Progress is also doing Avon first, by the way.
Okay.
Well, there is actually another armor buff that you can get from AV called Polished Armor that is also percentage armor buff.
Yet to see someone. That is actually, I totally forgot about that. So that's amazing.
Dude,
Big
they have
First
so
time
many
actually
mages.
get into an AV.
Yeah.
They have 6 mages. Six mages.
6 mages, 3 warlocks. So we definitely should be seeing some sort of AoE strategy here. And they're coming up to the first dangerous pack. These packs, the abominations are not too scary, but when you see the monstrosities inside the ring of people, those monstrosities are dangerous. They can summon a lightning totem that does a lot of AoE damage. So we're about to see if they choose to pull more than one of these packs, it could lead to a lot of raid damage if they're not quick enough in killing these monstrosities.
It also seems so. You see that they have these sewage beasts kind of come from behind. Grobulus pats up above that first like big room in the A-bomb wing, and he spawns additional like of those blob mobs. And I wonder if he did that right as their last couple people were coming through. Just little things like that that are going to add time.
And so you guys said before that you think that the construct wing, the A-bomb wing, is the toughest wing, right? Well, that's what it sounded like before. So.
The trash.
It's not necessarily the toughest. It's more so that these really good armor buffs that you can get have low uptime. So if you're going to utilize these armor buffs to the fullest, then it's best to use these low uptime buffs on the boss that does the most physical damage, which is
I see.
Patchwork.
You see that sea of faps going off there, and now perfect synchronization.
Okay, the monstrosity here in the middle. So it looks like they are only going for one.
Target dummies, a bunch of target dummies coming out too. That's pretty cool. How's this damage looking compared to that run we were looking at before? It looks way higher.
Well, they're really respecting the damage that the spellcasters can do on this pack. You can see that the range DPS, especially the warlocks, were opting to go for Rain of Fire rather than an aggressive Oil of Immolation and Hellfire. So you can see that they're really respecting the amount of damage that these packs can do here.
Let's see if we can get a progress perspective as well. You said they're in, right?
Mhm.
Check out Cloud Bells, the Hunter POV.
Sarth, you might be muted.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I was saying, that the damage output that we see in Classic is, compared to private servers and compared to anything really, is really incredible. The amount of damage we can see people do. And look at Progress's composition right here. And this is the starting composition. It should be important to note we might see compositions change, like we mentioned earlier.
Right. They're going for the construct quarter as well.
And it looks like they're about at the same pacing. It may look like they're a little bit behind because they have some of the big abominations up, but they opted to go for the AoE packs over priority, over these abomination packs here. So they will be clearing the abominations now with free action potion up.
So just to like give a different perspective, so Rise is currently on Hagen. So they're already chugging through the Plague Wing.
Holy shit.
And that's just another idea of like, so we're not even very close to pulling Patchwork yet. Like they've still got a bunch of trash packs, both Progress and Onslaught, but the Plague Wing goes so fast.
Yeah, and Apes is already on. Apes just killed a Nubricon, so Apes just killed their first boss also. So guilds are doing it very differently. It looks like Salad Bakers actually potentially got wiped trying to get in because of that lag trying to get in.
No.
No way.
Yeah, they are
Their salads have
dead
been
and-
baked.
Check out my man Tails. No, Tails!
Yeah,
Oh.
Hales is dead.
So that is
Any Sag in the chat?
Jeez.
definitely Sag. That is unfortunate.
Yo, clip. Any clip?
Yeah,
Any
does
death
anyone
clips?
have
Any
does
death
anyone
clip?
have the clip?
Death clip.
That's super heartbreaking. All that work. All that.
Yeah,
Man.
they must be very demoralized. If you guys are gonna flame them, go easy on them, because I'm sure they do not feel good right now.
Well, there's a
So-
sea of Keck W's in the chat. right
Hagen
now.
is down. So
Wow.
they're on their way to Lotheb. And Onslaught
Onslaught is pulling
about
Patchwork
to pull
now.
Patchwork. Yeah.
Can we get a POV
Okay.
on a different quarter?
Well, there's so much going on, right? It's tough. Like, let's go with Patchwork right now. If they're pulling him right now.
Alright, we're
because
back.
it's their first full
Yeah,
boss fight.
yeah.
And then, what do you guys think?
Like this sandwich as well, getting a drink.
Rise will be on Lotheb.
Dinner.
We should probably watch.
We should watch Lotheb, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jen and Cook
I think that was one of the last ones linked.
on those.
See here, you were right. They're not gonna go for
Pretty much
anything.
fend all this
They're
fish.
gonna go straight into the boss. They don't care about the dip. They're just nuking it, going straight off the get-go.
Decent cooking level from it.
Yeah, they actually.
Then we're gonna go sit in Ogremar and do the same.
Bit on DPS right at
The place where we
onset,
couldn't
so
quite fish in the first place.
Could all get ahead. And
Onslaught's got a feral druid.
They do. Yep. There you go. There's a druid. Taking hatefuls right now.
Yeah, he's taking hatefuls.
Looks like it's
Yeah.
main tanking too, right? It's
yeah, like Alive said, Feral Druid really good for that physical damage. So this is the boss specifically to have that mostly for, and then it gives their off tanks, the ones in that group, a little bit of extra crit.
Correct. Ferals aren't as flexible as warrior tanks, but what they are good at, they are exceptionally good at. And soaking hatefuls is one of those things.
Did you guys see that trash pack that got pulled on Patchwork?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
What was that?
So that's coming from behind them. That's the blobs that respawn until you kill them.
No, they had a
Oh, is it-
A-bomb. Yeah.
Oh, they had A-bomb as well.
And they have a death here, it looks like.
Yeah, Shrek was
This,
there.
this is the first death of the guilds that we've seen.
Ale just bit it. Poor Ale.
Hale just died.
Yeah.
Hale and Shrek has gone down. So
Let's keep-
Onslaught is-
Let's keep that noted, and when we check back on them, we'll see if they ended up doing a roster swap.
Ale was telling me that they definitely will. That when people die, they're immediately getting subbed out.
Meanwhile, Rise
Farewell.
is about 50% of the way through Lotheb.
Man, Patchwork is. He's got some health on him for sure. You don't realize when you're healing, because when you're healing, I'm a healer, right? That you don't realize how long.
There's a second death, or
And
third.
this is really one of those duration fights. A lot of people remember Patchwork just for being a nuke boss, which it is, but it still lasts quite a long time. And you need to be doing maximum healing output the whole time. So it is quite oftentimes going to end up that your healers are running out of mana on this fight.
Yeah.
This
all those
is
tanks
one
are
of the
dropping
scary fights. Yeah, this is one of the scariest fights because it
Another death.
does
low. There's the Enrage,
invite
the Druid
people
takes
to die
down.
early.
2 deaths. Okay, let's
It
go
looks
check
like
in on.
they've got some soul stones up.
Can we still catch that Lotheb? Are we?
Yep.
Yeah, we
still
are.
there.
Yep, we're around 40%, 30%.
Yeah, it looks like they're just cruising.
And
Yeah,
this
this
is
is a
interesting. If you
clean
look at the
Lotheb.
DPS meters, there's not a mage at the top, so that must mean that the first round of Spore buff did not go to the mage group. That's a bit of a strange call, in my opinion.
From my experience knowing people in Rise, they do tend to prioritize brown boys quite significantly. But it is definitely interesting as well.
All right, Lotheb down. So they've cleared this plague wing. They've cleared
They're
the
going to
plague
grab
wing
this buff and move on with it.
Like you said, you can't really compare one wing to another, right? So it's hard
Yeah.
to tell who's the lead here.
This wing goes by extremely quickly. All the bosses have quite low health compared to some of the other bosses. A lot of the trash you can skip or just pull all of it and AoE it down. It goes way, way faster. But it looks like they're about to start the construct quarter, so we're going to be able to see how well they handled this quarter compared to the guilds that we just previously saw.
And Apes is moving towards Grand Widow Faralina. and they are not going for a big pull into Fairlina.
Oh no.
So they are single pulling all of these, which is going to be a significant time difference between some of, if we see the one we see progress go for this, but it is a lot safer, I guess.
This is definitely the safe play, but if we see a guild pull off the mass pull, they are going to have a huge time lead.
Oh yeah, these packs, when you do them one at a time, take quite a while. They're not super fast packs because you have to space the mobs out. You have to split them up, and there's just a lot of them in every single one of the pulls. Onslaught is on Gorobulus now.
We might see some cheese here with some big AoE damage. And it looks like we are. Look at this AoE damage. They're popping off.
Allegedly, Calamity just wiped.
Oh no. Another one bites the dust.
Another one down.
Is there any POV from Calamity? Anybody in the chat have a link? I wonder if that's actually a wipe in the raid.
Inside or outside, yeah.
Yeah.
Progress is right behind Onslaught, by the way. Very close.
Yeah, Rise took a really long time just to start the A-bomb thing. I'm not sure what they were doing, if they were swapping people out or something, but they are just now doing the first pull, even though they finished Plague Wing, I feel like, minutes ago.
Yeah.
It looks like Fairlina is about to die here. They handled this fight pretty well. Everything was managed, everything was handled well with the debuffs, all of the ads were handled well, and that's about what we're going to expect from these guilds. Fairlina is one of the more easy fights, with the damage output from the NPCs being quite low. But once again, very well handled here.
So we've only seen 2 buckets so far, right? We've seen guilds approach it for Spider Wing first, and then some guilds have approached an A-Bomb Wing, and they appear to just be switching places. So.
Rise did Plague first.
Oh, Rise did Plague.
And Apes did Spider. Apes is in Spider about... They're getting close to...
Maxina, yeah. Yeah, we haven't seen anyone go to the Death Knight wing.
Yeah.
And that's usually the wing that you'll see people wait till do later. Usually the last wing. Like I said, when you want to make any roster changes at the very end.
Onslaught has down Grobulus. They're running up to the pipe.
We got Grizzly here. Is my man Ampy, the speedrunning legend, is
Has Grizzly already finished one of the shorter wings?
They must have, if they're on patchwork, right? That would be the assumption.
Yeah.
And so far, this is the only team that opted to bring more warlocks than mages. Interesting play.
Now we're on to your boy Tetsu here. Maybe Alive, you can walk us through a little bit. Or...
Oh yeah,
Scariest boss right here.
They're neck and neck right now with Onslaught.
Yeah, this is really going to be interesting on how well Chow is going to be handled, and more importantly, after Gluth, how Thaddeus is going to be handled. Thaddeus is a bit more intimidating than this boss here, and there is actually a few ways to cheese Thaddeus as well. But we'll see how well they handle kiting the Chow, managing the Chow, and dealing with the Decimate.
You said that they're neck and neck with Onslaught, but we saw Onslaught had at least, 3 people die? I wonder how important that is. Well, yeah, it's a way to tell if anyone died in progress yet.
And Onslaught did not sub those characters out yet, at least.
They're probably waiting until they get
We'll wait till
end
after
of
the
wing.
quarter, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if we're even going to see a Decimate.
I don't think so.
Yeah, look at the meters. They are just pumping. The rogues are going off, actually. Until we'll start seeing some brown boys take the lead in a few seconds.
Yeah, there's no Decimate slot, so I don't think we're going to see anything progress either.
Yeah. And really, this boss has quite low armor values and dies really quickly, having lower health than the large majority of the bosses in the dungeon here.
So we see Tails and the Salad Bakers still hopping back in there. You can see they have no world buffs. You hate to see that, but it's nice to see them pushing forward.
Apes just had 2 deaths on a big pull in the Spider Wing. Unfortunate. Before my X-Net. 2 deaths before my X-Net. And Salad Baker's moving towards their first boss, which is Patchwork with no world buffs.
Onslaught's engaging with Thaddeus mini bosses now.
Thaddeus
Checking it
is
with,
going to be an interesting one.
Checking with
Yeah.
Monkey News. We haven't checked in with any of the Apes boys, I don't think, quite yet. So, is there anything we can take away from this?
On the pull before this, they lost 2 players, and it's gonna be interesting to see if they go for another big pull or just to skip everything. This is the play here, to skip everything.
Well, it's kind of interesting. It looks like they didn't go for as many skips as they could, because this is one of the hallways where you could make some invis skip strategies, and it looks
Yeah.
like they opted not to do that. So I wonder if maybe they had cooldowns on the items, or they're saving the cooldowns for a different play.
They're
But
skipping a bit here.
Maxana
Onslaught's-
should... Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say Onslaught has finished the mini bosses, and they're moving on to Thaddeus.
Onslaught moving on to the jump boss, and Onslaught had people fail the jump boss.
Yeah, just saw a few people.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they did.
And he catched.
It was a warrior.
Hey, I mean, you can't expect much from Brown Boys, you know what I mean?
They can't even read, man.
Oh.
All they want is that Wind Fury totem. Well, if you're Horde. Let's see.
I mean, even if you're Alliance, you still want it.
You still want it?
You'd take it, yeah.
First polarity shift.
I love
So
how
far,
as soon as
so
someone makes a
good.
mistake, there's just a sea of Keck W's. You just see it every time.
Yeah. Meanwhile, those people probably wouldn't be able to, I just hate when people laugh at people doing this stuff because it's so stressful, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And look at the Ignite here. This is why you bring mages to the run.
Wow.
Sure, overall, warriors do more damage single target, but it's times like this where you really, really want the mages. Thaddeus, mages absolutely destroy.
Am I seeing this
Lothib,
right? Triple the damage? Triple the number 2?
Yeah.
He's doing over 8k
Yeah.
DPS.
and
Yeah.
they can do the same thing on Lothib as well. You can drop all of your critical strike rating and go for as much flat spell power as possible to carry a massive Ignite. I've seen mages on private servers get 6k Ignites for the whole duration of Lothib.
Very, very clean Thaddeus. Almost there, but so
Yeah,
far.
very well done so far.
It'll be,
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if they have any, if they're just gonna space out and wait. That's gonna be their plan here. Salva's actually just jumping into the.
Alright, let's
to
stay
the
ahead of
point.
it. Who should we check in on? Let's keep scoping it out.
I'd like to see where progress is at. If they've also just killed, just for a moment even.
On Thaddeus, it's like.
They just
let's
finished a quarter. They are scrambling towards where?
Let's see where they go next.
Okay, so they might. It looks like they were ahead.
And it looks like they're going military.
Military.
Which is a big surprise. Not normally the quarter that people go to right away. Let's
Sorry.
see if they have any big AoE cheese methods here.
Did they?
Wait, how
So
come
I-
it only has 28
man.
minutes on DMF? Did they not refresh the
They did a AQ speedrun and then logged out afterwards. They got world third, and then
Third,
logged
I
out
believe,
afterwards. So that's why their DMF will be shorter than other guilds.
Onslaught's going spider wing. It looks like.
Okay.
So it sounds like Onslaught is going for a bit more of the safer route, knowing that Spiderwing is one of the quarters that you can skip a lot of trash, and you can mow down the bosses with little to zero threat value.
Let's see if Dream State. We haven't seen any representation from Dream State yet. My man Lazante here, friend of the channel, hardcore and stuff. They are not even
gonna be
inside Max right now.
I
Okay.
believe they got wiped, and probably decided just to go for a different run.
Oh, they're farming crystals and stuff.
Yeah,
They're getting ready for the next speed run.
yeah.
So Dream State out of the race, man. You hate to see that. There's some Dream State fans. Checking back in with Apes here. Here's Pre-Fox Fox.
So it looks like they got through
Maytaz
Vesuvius.
lost buffs. Maytaz died and lost buffs.
Oh wow. That's one of those big trickle down effects.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's their main tank.
I mean, isn't that kind of a big deal, though, that the entire raid has only 28 minutes left of DMF for progress, though, too, compared to Onslaught if they have fresh ones?
I mean, that is a big difference, but like we said before, that just means that you're going to have to go for crazier and crazier strategies to make up for that difference. The people who have 2-hour Darkman Fairs it's almost more beneficial for them not to do crazy pulls than crazy pulls, because as long as they keep Darkman Fair on their warriors, they're gonna have a good time regardless.
Good point.
So Onslaught's at a Nubricon. Just checking with other guilds. Rise is they're on Patchwork. Patchwork's at like 25, 30%.
We haven't seen a new Precon fight yet. Is this the first dude in the quarter?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, this is the first boss.
And you should see him absolutely get melted here.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if most of these guilds kill him before the first.
Oh yeah, every guild's
yeah.
gonna kill him before that.
Jesus, they're over 3k damage here. 3k DPS.
Yeah, warriors are a pretty decent class, actually.
Especially
good.
three targets is pretty good for warriors. This is pretty amazing for them actually. So they can pump that really hard. Did he use wreck there? 30-minute CD. Looks like it. Bottom right, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
30-minute PD.
Yeah.
Sure.
That
So he hasn't cast Locust Swarm yet. He's 23% health.
It's also interesting from a min-max perspective to see the bear tank staying in bear form and not trying to contribute more damage by power shifting and cat.
Yeah. Nubricon's down. No Locust Swarm.
No look. Yeah. I wonder if that's something they tested out and they realized like we have to pop wreck here.
Yeah.
Rise has Patchwork down as well. I didn't see if they had any deaths.
We'll check back in with Rise. It's been a minute.
They're gonna be clearing Grobulus trash.
Yeah.
I mean, is there any way to tell who's in the lead, chat? I mean, just chat.
This is a long time for them to wait here.
I think you assume right now that Onslaught and Progress are both
I
moving
think
at
so as
the
well.
fastest clips. I think Apes is also probably doing. It's so hard to know though.
Apes is doing pretty well, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because the apes clear through that Plague Wing trash. They could have actually skipped a lot of that. Maybe they don't know the strategy to skip it. I assume that they would know, and maybe they're just opting to go for that safer play. But there is a big skip that you can do there.
So the bear tank went down again.
Yeah, so we're probably just gonna
buffs on Patchwork.
get
So
150 fishing here.
he keeps dying. I
Keep
don't
pushing
know
for a while.
why they're necessarily keeping
The,
him at this point.
Ramen speed
I didn't
ones.
see Ale get subbed out either on. So maybe
Ale,
they're not subbed.
yeah, Ale and Schrecter.
We're not gonna really be saying much.
Both of them died.
It will be interesting. Oh yeah, and this is the new quarter too, so
Lost
not
a shot.
sure why they didn't bring people out.
Let's check back in. Hunter perspective progress. This is twitch.tv/cloudbells.
And they're in
Military quarter.
military.
This is the
yeah.
only guild in the contestants that we've been watching so far that's going to military quarter within the first 2 quarters.
Do you have any idea why that might be?
Well,
I think he might know.
I might have an inkling, but we're probably not going to see the payoff till a little bit later.
Okay.
Maybe check Discord messages.
Oh, I love this fight, man. The Vesuvius guy, yeah, with the this is the one you have to MC the
You have to MC his students and have his students tank. Yeah.
Should be a pretty clean kill here. What could go wrong is if an MC breaks early due to a bad heartbeat pulse. But generally, this is a pretty easy fight where you just need to line of sight a shout.
This has got to be one of the longer fights, right?
It can be a bit long. It looks like they're playing it a little too safe. As you can see, the casters right here are right in the middle of the staircase, and when they were line of sighting, they went all the way over to the left of the banister, off to the left, and that's a bit too far for them to be traveling to effectively line of sight. That's too much movement. So it looks like since they're going for that much movement, they really, really are trying to go for the safe plays and just focus on keeping everyone alive and not losing any buffs.
Although there are 2 dead.
One of them being a mage, which implies that it was probably
he got hit by the shout. I would
Yeah,
imagine.
there was probably a call made to LOS even harder.
Yeah, they're probably playing a bit scared because of that. This is not a good look. 3 people down, and this is a really, really easy boss. It looks like people are having a hard time line of sighting the shout for some reason, even though it's a very basic mechanic.
Yeah.
They didn't seem like they had any issues with the position of the boss. It was just people not paying close attention to when that yell was going out.
There shouldn't be any deaths there.
Also,
Looks like he has like 8 minutes left on DMF too. I feel like that's going to be a big deal. This entire group of 40 people is going to be already done and through their DMF buff.
Onslaught lost Clevis to a trash pull.
That's their main tank, right?
Ooh.
It's,
It's one of the
yeah.
off things.
They're just now starting Grand Widow trash.
And where progress just was after Instructor Azubius is really the biggest RNG aspect of the dungeon, where in AQ we saw a lot of fishing for a good ID, and right there you could fish for good weapon IDs, but it doesn't change too much at this pacing at least.
It'd be hard to do that too with the raid coming out.
Yeah, for sure.
But in future runs, yeah, I could see that being a thing.
And it looks like they also didn't go for the mass AoE pull, but once again, that is because they're Horde, making it much, much more difficult since you don't have paladins to rely on to run in there with their blessing of protection or their shields on and doing that arcane bomb strategy. But it looks like even though they don't have the paladins to do the one big pull, they are still cleaning this up at a very fast pace.
We're about to catch a fresh Loetheb fight here coming out of Apes too.
Yeah, it sounds like Apes is on Loetheb. Rise is gonna kill Gluth here, and they just killed Gluth. So Rise is also gonna be on Loetheb.
Rise is doing very well.
So Rise will have 2 wings. Well, they're gonna move to Thaddeus, I guess.
Thaddeus, yeah.
I just see progress and I see Apes and I see 2 hours on a DMF buff versus 8 minutes, and it just seems like a big deal, man. When we were talking about it before, 10% damage across 40 people allows you to cheese certain mechanics.
It is a big deal, but that's the price you have to pay if you want to speedrun in AQ as well as speedrun in Max Ramus.
Yep.
And that AQ was, I would say, well worth it it was a massive improvement. It was a really good run.
Yeah, we finally beat the Eradicator boss.
And I guess they did get some more gear. They got a week's more gear than Apes, right?
So Onslaught's pulling Faralina. At the same time, we've got Apes here on the mainstream on Loetheb.
Rise has the mini bosses on Thaddeus almost down as well, with 0 deaths so far.
So which wing did Apes do first? They went Spider Wing first.
Spider.
Right?
Apes on Spider.
So they still have to do A-bomb and military.
They've done the 2 quickest wings first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rise is now on Thaddeus, and Onslaught is halfway through Faralina, which they are also destroying.
We'll check out Rise right after Loetheb goes down.
No mind controls, no nothing, just killing her.
So I was expecting to see the mages at the top of this fight with what Alive was saying, but it seems like they're...
They ended up going for the warrior group strategy as well, rather than
these
the
here,
ignite strategy.
Okay. Let's check in with Rise since they're one of the front runners as well.
So Rise is going to be done with Plague, and I guess this is A-bomb wing, right?
You can see that mage on top again, just pumping the damage.
Absolutely destroyed.
I mean, the other mage, though, that we saw before was almost triple the damage.
Yeah, the other mage is at 8k, so if you get good ignites, you are just pumping. There's a little bit of RNG involved, especially if the mages have to move, ignite can drop. So mages can destroy this fight.
It also matters a little bit how many polarities you get to buff your damage on your side.
Yeah.
It looks like they're going to get this boss down pretty cleanly, though. Do we have a death? We do have a death on Thaddeus. That is not good. 2 deaths on Thaddeus. That's not good compared to the other guilds. The other guilds did have some deaths, but not on Thaddeus.
They lost a significant third, a fourth.
It's a big surprise to be seeing players drop on this boss. 4 players down. This is really going to cripple the team quite a bit. Are they going to look to replace someone since this is the end of the quarter?
Goddamn.
They have to wait now and drop their stacks. So if they wanted to go for any roster swaps, now would be a good time to do it.
This would be a great time because they could log out right now.
They could just.
We will see.
There's
one drop.
Spear res. And
One
then
drop from raid group. 2 others are being resurrected right now. 3 being resurrected. So it looks like potentially just 1.
Do we see any Hearthstones being casted? It looks like not. It looks like we're only going to see 1 roster swap. Maybe they didn't have as many people as on backup as they wanted to. Or maybe this is a call that they're making on their own. Who knows?
Looks like they're setting up for military quarter here too, so they're taking a similar route to Progress then, right?
They're doing military quarter 3rd instead of 2nd, but yeah.
So they're leaving Spider for last. So
the easiest for last.
They're leaving the easiest one for last. The one that's, if they're going in there with the deaths that they've experienced, it will theoretically have the lowest impact.
Yes.
Okay, let's check in with back on Onslaught.
Rise does take some time to rebuff and get things going in between each quarter, which is interesting.
Yeah, they did this before.
Onslaught's on their way to Maxna now. They're clearing trash to Maxna.
Another place where potentially they could have gone for a big skip, but it looked like they pulled that trash pull.
Have we seen any Petri pulls or anything, or is that something that we can't really catch? It's too quick.
It doesn't look like we've seen
We
one
haven't
quite
seen it yet. Yeah.
And you might start to see Petries on Sephiron as well. One of the big warning spots for these raiders is Sephiron. When you get really, really unlucky ice block positioning, or if you get ice blocks primarily all on one side and you're really, really caught off in a bad position, one of the common strategies that you're going to see here, if they get bad RNG with the ice blocks, is just popping a Petri and eating the Frost Blast.
Onslaught on Maxna now.
We haven't caught him, Max, yet. This is cool. A big-ass spider right there.
So my Exna, if my Exna reaches the big CD where she stuns everybody, that will be the first time we'll see if they go for any sort of cheesy things. Where she would stun literally everyone in the raid for 10 seconds. Or you could just see...
Is that a Petri Flask that he has above Berserker Rage? And is that 47 Holy Waters or something?
I think those are Mighty Rage.
Those are Mighty Rage, but those are Holy Waters, yes.
Yeah, the blue ones are Holy Waters, Cargos.
I see, yeah.
So they had Barkings take over tanking before the web. I was wondering if they were just going to have Clevis eat it and just say, like, hey, you already died. If you eat the first web, then we're not going to have a tank die with buffs.
And I think that's not a bad strategy, but they still handled it quite well.
Now threat is all over the place.
Almost a death there. Really close on mileage.
DPS are switching to the ads. I mean, she's dead. Okay, so Spider's down. It looks like they did lose 1%.
Overall, decently clean Spider, though.
Yeah.
And...
Splinter of Atiash right there, man.
And a Wraithblade, hello.
Oh, wow. Progress has...
It looks like Progress is coming up to 4 Horsemen, which is probably one of the most premier boss fights in the instance. One of the most well-known boss fights.
Yeah, which definitely.
So, Dolly just hid his stream.
Wait, what?
They're doing swaps probably.
They might be doing. I don't know why you'd hide it if you're just swapping people out. But he's hiding his stuff right now. So it could be. Yeah.
To get back in, might have lost some buffs. So we'll see.
The big danger points on 4 horsemen is the meteor and the chain lightning. If anyone messes up the chain lightning from the white horseman does a lot of damage. And as for the meteor, just like in AQ40, if you are not stacked up to soak the meteor, or if you move into the boss or out of the boss at the wrong time and eat a meteor while you're running, it could mean a death.
So Onslaught did a ton of swapping. Dolly himself swapped to his mage, and it looks like they're still actually getting all their swaps worked out.
Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know he had a mage.
Just like I thought. Yeah, I was anticipating Horde definitely swapping off of some warriors, but they were running more mages than I had anticipated beforehand. At the
This
So-
is it, man. 4 horsemen. Do you still have to have all the separate tanks when you're speed running?
You definitely do not want to be stacking these bosses. You don't have to be extremely deep prot or anything like that, but you do not want to stack these bosses. We're going to see them take them to all 4 corners, and before they separate them, we get sappers off on every single boss. That way we get as much damage off on all of the bosses at the very beginning of the pool as possible. Really
Look at how-
min-maxing our AoE.
Thane is just getting
melting.
destroyed. They will probably kill Thane before they have to move away.
Yeah,
These
they might-
bosses
that
have
is
no health.
So they can
have
break
beautiful.
the second shield wall if they get to the DPS fast enough. By the way.
Yeah.
This is really well done so far.
So they're at 2 marks.
And that's the meteor we're talking about. If you move out at a bad time and you don't move with the group, guys, everyone in chat,
Wow.
you can die.
That's insane.
Thane is down before they had to move out. Only 2 marks, and Thane is already dead. So that was very, very clean.
Meanwhile,
Mo-
Onslaught is going into military with their swapped up raid.
So Mograin's first shield wall. He'll probably only get 1.
And as soon as it drops, we are going to see him get melted and immediately move to the back 2 bosses, with the Void boss being probably the least scary. The White boss, the White Horseman, is a little bit scary for these melee heavy comps because, again, that chain lightning ability is no joke.
Mograin's down.
Let's see
There
if they
they
do a split
are.
here. As you can see, we have the casters go on to the White Horseman because the range of the Chain Lightning ability is 30 yards. So every single caster spec'd into the increased range talent is able to completely negate his ability 100%. So as we suspected, they are going for this split strategy where the melee are going to blow up Lady Blamo while the rangers start on the White boss.
So Onslaught's doing an invis skip right now. We're probably not going to be able to catch it, but they're skipping as much trash as they can with an invis pot at the beginning of Military Wing. So they had pulled a couple packs. Now they are down the staircase to the what is essentially the stables, and they skipped tons and tons of trash.
Progress you can see, like Alive was mentioning, the melee are just moving out. They are not going to all move in towards the White Horseman for the fear of that chain lightning, and they're just going to drop stacks if they can. Yeah.
Pulling up the hunter POV. Oh wait, the
hunter is out of range, just attacking, but still getting the aura. So that's still something that he has to worry about.
You'll still get the aura, but you completely mitigate his actual ability. But from here on out, if you get to the last 2 bosses, it's just a matter of time. This is going to be a kill. We're not going to see any deaths here, as long as they play it safe like this.
You feeling pretty good about your boys here, Alive?
Well, I'm feeling pretty confident about the next few wings. I know we have some exciting skips that are kind of like the skips that Duran said earlier. We have some really exciting skips coming up, especially in the Plague Quarter.
Okay. We'll keep tabs on that. Let's check in on maybe Apes.
Apes just lost people on Patchwork. Mataw's dead, Monkey News dead, Prefox, and Skooma.
Oh no.
Multiple deaths on Patchwork so far, and Patchwork's only at 45%. This is
a wipe?
This is terrible for them, in all honesty.
Oh my god, it looks like a wipe, dude.
Apes slipping on the banana peel.
So Progress right now, it looks like are running back through.
Progress are skipping trash. So Progress are right now skipping trash. And we will probably, if we see them after this Apes fight, they'll probably do either an Invis pot pull
Onslaught on
or-
Resume.
Or are they
Yeah,
gonna get
onslaughts
this?
on Resuvius. Yeah.
Doesn't look like it, right?
Apes is. They might get this, but they have lost a lot of people. Naru is evasion tanking right now. This
Isn't
is
he about to enrage right now?
This is
right as
really,
his
really
evasion goes away. He's
dangerous.
dead. 19%.
This is going to be Apes being count out of the world first run, in my opinion. There is no recovering from this point. Not unless
Yeah.
all of the other guilds also make mistakes of this caliber. But
Yeah,
they're
we're just gonna see
probably going
evasion
to keep the door
tanks
shut.
to try to hold off. Oh, maybe they won't even have it down. Let's see.
8%.
Everyone's gonna die when he enrages.
He said everyone's gonna die when he enrages. Oh, there it is. There it is.
And we see Progress probably going for a skip here in a second. A skip that we have not yet seen done on the other streams. Here we go. Yep,
Apes
they're going
is
in.
Okay,
down.
Going back, going back. We gotta see this skip.
What is Progress doing? Slimy
Swimming.
boys just taking a little
Huge
swim.
skip.
What the hell am I looking at right here?
So what a lot of people don't know is these different quarters and wings are actually connected by these slime
Connected.
pools. So you can bypass going all the way through the quarter by swimming through these slime pools. Now, are we going to see
No.
any deaths here, or is it going to be a clean skip? This is all up to the healers. They can't stay in here too long. They really have to move in. This is taking a lot of healer mana, but if they
They're
can
waiting
pull
on a
off this
path.
skip, if they can pull off the skip, it's going to save a lot of time.
Everybody's taking massive damage though, right?
No,
The
no.
pad is moving away. The pad is moving away. This looks. Oh. The health bars here are terrifying.
Oh.
Look at that.
So it's
and
a
it looks they
percentage,
made it safely.
right? All that ooze should be like it's a percentage drop in health.
No,
Correct.
some people died. Some people died.
That I have next Rams came in at a really bad
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
So the Eye of Next
Who's
Ramus
that?
does an AoE Shadow Bolt volley within the first 3 seconds that you pull him, and it looks like they pulled him a little bit too early before the healers were able to completely top people off from that ooze debuff. Not a good play from the Progress boys.
Let's see. I mean, did you still think it saved them some time though, doing that?
It does save them time, yes, but I don't know if it's going to be worth the mana loss and the res time that they have to deal with.
Wow.
It is a fantastic skip, and probably a skip that you're going to want to run in an ideal speedrun strategy. But once again, if that padding mob is in a bad position when you come to the other side of the ooze, as we saw there, it can be really, really punishing.
So we
Now
haven't seen a
they're
Noth
in
fight
on
yet.
Noth, the plague
Yeah,
bearer.
we'll be doing Noth here in a second. Or
This
not.
guy's not too bad, is he?
No,
No.
just gotta make
No.
sure you don't keep the curse off.
You gotta,
Decurse
yeah,
off.
you gotta decurse. These guilds are probably killing him before he teleports up onto the.
Oh wow, I thought that was the whole
Yeah.
thing. He teleports up and summons ads. You can just kill him before.
You can kill him before it. Yeah, he still does his little blink that can drop aggro, but it's not a mechanic that's intimidating.
Everyone drinks a Juju right before this boss fight to do maximum DPS.
Juju energy, bro.
Yep.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, there's the blink.
And Noth is getting absolutely destroyed. Their overall DPS is still incredible. We've seen so few deaths from Progress that they are really a contender for this world record.
And I don't think we've seen any of these top guilds have any clean runs with 0 deaths so far. I think we've seen a few people dropping on every single team.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
We go back to
Onslaught's about to pull Gothic.
Yep. They are getting set for Gothic right now.
With their different composition, what they actually have a similar or almost the same composition for the most part. It looks like most warriors that died or lost buffs swapped for mages so that other warriors could possibly come in. Although we do see
Yo, man, what's up?
warlocks here.
Just doing some fishing, as you can see. We're not really talking or doing much, because we're watching the Naxxramas speedruns. Because obviously Nax is out now, so all the top guilds are speedrunning it. So just listening to that in the background. I'm sure you can probably hear it playing in the background. It's just Cargo's stream, and they're like streaming the run. I thought instead of having half focus on that and trying to level and quest, play it safe and just do some fishing in Orgrimmar and don't really pay too much attention. Oh, nice, man. Hope you enjoy it. Are you got a class you want to play, or?
Until you get to the boss phase, but this roster changes most likely for Sephiron min-maxing and for Four Horsemen min-maxing, but we'll find out here soon.
Yeah, and Rise is here as well at the exact same point. Apes is pretty much out of the contest, and Progress is moving towards Hagen.
Hagen, they're about to do the dance. It's prom night for Progress.
Did Apes end up wiping on that patchwork? I left at the last second because we're...
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna play both?
They killed it, but they lost almost every single person.
Okay.
So right now, where we're kind of standing with different guilds and different wings cleared, just checking in with you guys too. I think Onslaught after this has Plague Wing left, if I'm not mistaken. Them in Progress are going to kind of flip-flop, right? So Progress is in Plague Wing and they're going to have to, or no, they went military already.
Here's Grizzly cranking through a Plague here.
Ah, fair enough. Well,
Onslaught's going to have Plague, which is the fastest.
let me know if you ever decide to do hardcore on Classic.
Progress does have Arachnid, yes.
Okay.
Or anything of the sort.
Arachnid is a wing where you can potentially do an invis skip.
Yeah, you can also, you know, give spoilers for Shadowlands if you want. I don't mind. I'm not that bothered about spoilers. I plan on getting there myself one day and playing the expansion, but not anytime soon, I suppose. So if you ever want to chat about stuff like that, I'd be happy to. Or if you want any help with like Classic or anything when you start playing.
CN United played on private servers, and they're a team that started off really mediocre.
I mean, I've not been trying to look at spoilers or anything for Shadowlands,
They are no joke.
but I don't mind getting spoilers. It's like not a big deal.
Really good.
We haven't checked in on Rise.
Well, you're US from what I remember, right? So
Rise.
unfortunately we can't play together because I'm on an EU realm. Which is Hydraxian Warlords.
Well, also, they've got pretty much one wing left, so those are probably the front runners right now, at least from what we've seen. Onslaught, Progress, and Rise.
It's going to be interesting to see. So far,
Oh, didn't actually hook anything. Okay.
gone for the safe play.
Well, I recommend you
for Grand Widow Fairlina. It'll be interesting to see with Progress.
Yeah, I recommend you go watch the Cargo stream now. Because they're getting kind of towards the end of the Naxxramas runs. Quite interesting. A few guilds have like wiped and then they've kind of like tried to continue. A few guilds have wiped and stopped because obviously it's just too much to recover from. And there's some quite unique strategies going on. Not that I know much about Nax myself, like pretty much nothing. I just know like the names of the bosses, pretty much.
They're DPS and Gothic.
I did it. Obviously, I did Nax and Wrath.
Yeah.
Once you get
But
to Gothic,
I guess they're not exactly the same
Gothic is once he's
as in the
down,
classic
he
or
has
vanilla
such
version. So.
little HP that you don't really have to worry about much.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of bugs.
like
It
they
really doesn't do that much damage either.
Yeah.
Imagine they kill one of the guilds. Excuse me. Imagine one of the guilds kills Four Horsemen, and then they get the corrupted Ashbringer drop. That would be insane. Live on stream while they're speedrunning, and they get one of the coolest weapons to drop.
And Lothab is at 60% health. It's only
I wonder what they're doing with loot as well, because like they're trying to be as quick as possible.
Though, ABN still is
So
at
someone's
pretty
picking
much
it
the
all up?
same DPS as the warriors from the other guilds that we saw.
Well, they're all just like everyone just take whatever for now,
How they
and
compare
then because you can trade it back with each other and
to them
stuff, they're just doing
utilizing
that
the
maybe.
mage strategy. Kenny Marsh and ABM splitting these ignites here.
So you can see him running
Kenny
a time
But yeah, on
attack,
some
right?
warriors are
So
basically just
far,
doing all the DPS mostly.
since they started the run, I
But in
guess.
some fights with the ignites on fire mages, they're just going crazy.
Well, I definitely lost in my 57 minutes, so
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about my prediction.
Oh, in classic, you do have the time to trade.
Yeah.
PS5.
So you got before you equip it and stuff, you have like a duration timer thing. So it just solves accidental looting by like loot masters and stuff. Because imagine like how many people are going to be whispering GMs or master looter accidentally giving themselves the item, and then having to make a ticket every single time for that.
Yeah, and I do think that Kenny Marsh is one of the people that went down on after that skip. But even then, all of the mages pumping the ignite should be pretty massive. The warriors are taking over though, especially as we move into the execute phase.
Yeah, it's just warriors. Just
Courtesy of Tyrannosaur, we're gonna get
I've
our
got
eyes
like
on
what
a
10
Russian
warriors
guild,
in
guys. Let's take a look at this.
maybe more in the
Guild that has done the same way
in the
as
40 man.
Onslaught and is ahead
And
of
you
it.
just see
I can't tell you how to pronounce this. Maybe someone can
the DPS meters, and it's just warriors, nothing else.
Maybe this is the guild to win it.
Actually, probably more than 10. They probably got like 15.
They
15 to
do use
20.
Dwarf Warrior, which is a big Chad move, as everyone in chat is well aware. If you play a Dwarf Warrior, you're not PvE bis, but you are the biggest Chad in the raid.
Good to know.
Yeah,
good to
this
know,
is just
the biggest chat.
one of those sleepers.
Look at the Thunder Fury relative to the Dwarf's body, man. That's hilarious.
Yeah, with the Corehound Tooth offhand. Always a
yeah.
great offhand,
Go Russia.
right?
Molten Core loot, best loot.
So this
Onslaught
might be the
Turtle,
front.
hold on to it.
This might be the front runner.
I think they're actually.
They are
slightly
behind Onslaught now. They are behind Onslaught now.
Okay.
Because
So
they're coming in.
Oh, Exodus. Exodus, guys. That rings a bell.
Onslaught
Oh,
is
yeah.
4 horsemen.
Yeah, Onslaught just got 2 4 horsemen.
All right, let's do it.
I'm not sure. Can you hear the stream in the
Wait, Dolly's on a mage.
in the audio?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What they're saying and stuff?
He's on
Dolly's
an
on a mage.
unbuff. I don't know if he died on the
Died,
mage
yeah,
or. Yeah, he died.
He died
So.
during the
Oh.
he got hit by a shout.
Okay.
That's why he hit his stream.
If you want me to turn it down or up,
Putting a report in right now, dying
let me
is
know.
actually not good for the run.
Oh man, enjoy.
Breaking
It's
news.
a hot take right
Good
there.
luck.
Yeah.
Contrary to popular belief, let's see how fast.
You might be, if you haven't played in a while, you might be a bit overwhelmed with everything.
Lane should die pretty quickly. It looks like they're
I
going
was
to-
when I went on my
they're going to be able
So
to
this
run
was like
just
a
about
few
every
days
spot.
before the release of Shadowlands. He
Because
had
we
beta
see they
access.
actually had the
I
casters
logged in
open
and I was just like, this
It's
is so
Progress
confusing.
Progress had the casters open
And I was like,
on
this is so
low,
goofy and
not on
confusing.
thing. So they are committing more damage here.
I
to
don't- I
this
don't
boss
really know
to
what
really
to
commit
do.
to bringing him down quickly.
Mograine's
Oh,
oops.
Mograine is there.
Oh no, is this it?
Is this the run? Killer.
I mean,
Okay,
they've got
he's
one
up.
down. They can. So they've got this whole front half of the room now, right? They can work around this. They can
Yeah, turn it up.
probably survive this. It's not going to be good for their overall speed.
They did take 2
Oh, okay, you already
LSS,
played the bit,
though,
okay.
From
Yeah.
Mograine.
I don't know if this is the play to come back to go straight to Mograine after this. I feel like this would have been a good opportunity for like the casters to go and split off.
How did Mograine
Wait, we missed the
hold
fish,
on? Oh,
ah.
the tank died. That's what it was.
They're still
See, I've
most
gotten
likely
basically
going
almost to
be safe,
150
but they're
fishing.
going to have to play this much,
Like
much
we
slower.
got to 75 in Duotar,
This
and
is
then moved
not
here
good.
after
They're
75,
playing it risky
and
they're
we've just been
not
sitting here
laying
fishing,
off
and we've got
whatsoever.
all these fish, which we're gonna also
Using
cook
a target dummy to
once we
account for
find the
boss
recipes on the
until new
vendors.
tank can get into
That's all we've
position.
been doing for the
Wait,
last
target
hour and a
damage
half.
just using hardcore? Kidding.
I was hoping I'd get 150 by an hour and a half
So
I
this
saw
is
that
before,
on stream
but
yesterday.
it's kind of slowed down a bit.
okay. So
The
The
they-
higher I
they-
go, the
they
less
had to get
the
a
less
tank
Ogremar's
probably
giving me
from
in
the
levels.
other two remaining
So,
horsemen
but it's something to do while I
take
watch.
over Mograine, because the tanks that were I think originally assigned to be there, I think all died.
Oh, chain
Oh,
lightning.
okay.
Oh, no.
Oh,
And that's it. That's the ability we were talking about before, guys.
There
No.
You want your
you go.
caster
HD is the
DPS
same as
on
classic.
this boss,
And
but
mode
your
rain is
caster
free.
DPS isn't going to
It's
be
the
doing
same
what they
game.
need
It's
to
just,
do if
you
they're
know, with
within
the
30
set of
range.
rules, right?
The whole
That we
reason
have,
you want caster DPS
that we
on
can't
this
do
boss
certain
is
things.
to abuse your range. If you're
The game
not
is the same.
abusing your range, you're going to wipe your raid team.
You hate to see it, man. You hate to see it.
I hate
so this
to
is the
see
right
it.
one.
This
That's
is
a
a
full
full
wipe.
wipe, yeah.
Is this the first full wipe? Yo, this is big.
Rise
Ooh, one of
is
the guilds
on-
wiped. I'm sure you can hear.
This is a full wipe. This is the first full,
Full
wipe.
wipe.
We've seen. Rise also on 4 horsemen right now.
Yo,
with
Can I
this
just-
is.
one down.
I told you guys there was gonna be a wipe on bosses today.
So
Well, if
they're
you want,
not
I can link you to
even- they're not
Discord
even
for
gonna
the
be-
Man,
for the hardcore community. There is a
I didn't think
Discord
it
and
was
it's
Onslaught, though.
got a lot
Oh,
of people
you
in it,
hate to see
a lot of
that.
resources, a lot of information,
So,
stuff like that.
fuck, that sucks.
If you feel like checking it
I
out.
think that puts progress at.
It's got a lot of death clips.
Yeah, man.
Which,
12
Rise
on-
is also
for a
on
non-HC
Progress
player,
right now. Progress
I would
right now is
probably
fighting
say
on
that's
Rubicon,
pretty the most amusing
and
thing.
Rise is on 4 horsemen. So it depends on how clean Rise can do
Okay,
with
give me
4
a
horsemen, but
quick
Progress
second here.
does have some skips coming up in the Spider Way.
You think they know Onslaught wipe? Look at all the Onslaught wipe spam in their chat, dude.
Well, Rise still has another quarter to go.
There you go, because it's
and Progress
essentially,
is in the last quarter, one boss already down. So I would say that they have a somewhat reasonable lead.
I think
Yeah.
essentially
Rise
it's
needs to go to
you know,
Spider
just the
as
community
well.
and it's for everyone to
Oh,
share.
if they
There's
do, then
some
that is
streaming
it.
resources on there as well.
Yeah, I think
If
they
you ever wanted to get into streaming or anything, or wanted to stream your run,
Now, it is important
your
to note
gameplay and
that
stuff.
A lot of progress is
There is
missing
some stuff on there,
today, but
some
even
free
still,
ad
they
assets
have
and whatnot.
somewhat of a comfortable lead, so as
Yeah,
long
there's a
as
lot of
they
death
stay
clips though,
here, they should be able
or
to pull
people's
it out.
highlights and stuff like that
Exodus,
on
though,
there.
It's hard to see where they started, right? This Russian guild, but you said they're pretty comparable to Onslaught, and this might be their next.
There's also like
contender.
announcements and stuff for like
They're still
tournaments
on
and
Path,
whatnot.
like,
If you ever were
Yeah,
interested to
they're-
like
they're a
watch when they're
ways behind
were
where
coming up and stuff.
was.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that currently the Forerunner is Progress, and then Rise.
Then Rise.
Progress,
Okay.
Progress might not even want to go for the whole pull of Grand Widow Fairlena's room, because at this point there might not be any point to even risk doing that pull in the first
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, that would be, if that went wrong, that would be giving up the world first.
Correct. If they do go for the play, that is just a show of confidence in how good their paladin players are at managing their pull time.
Yeah.
So we're seeing them do four horsemen here. Rise. This is what wiped Onslaught. Let's see how they handle with this.
They have, I think, one Warlock death right now. I think that's all they've. And they've
I
got
think
2 left.
Rise has this. It's looking like, unless they run in and chain that chain lightning or holy fire, even they should have this boss down.
He's saying it's pretty clean so far. Seems like he's happy with it.
Yeah, they're definitely. Progress is not doing the AoE.
They're going
Oh.
for the safe pull, which I think is the wise decision here. However,
Yeah.
just because we see Progress in the lead doesn't mean they're going to get the world record. Noda is also a fantastic guild that I believe we don't have coverage of.
They
So,
are not running today.
I
Mm.
see.
Yes.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Really, the only sleeper here could be a CN guild, but I don't know if they-
Gussie apparently has wiped as well, so it's Progress is in the lead as long as they play clean. They are in the lead. Very, very well done so far. This raid has been going incredible for them.
Any
And they-
human males in the chat?
You think Tetsu gets a lot of shit for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everyone in Classic WoW, when you go human, you go female human. That's just kind of the unspoken rule. But Tetsu going for the full Chad human male warrior is the outlier of the bunch. And he's starting a new trend. He's starting to make it more trendy to be male instead of female, just by himself.
So Rise is down. 4 Horsemen. They're porting back out. We'll double check here to see and make sure which wing they have left. But I'm pretty sure that it's Spider, which just puts them a ways behind.
So I know it can
Yeah,
be a bit
it is.
confusing for everyone watching in the chat. It's nice to just take a step back. It seems like our front runner is Progress. Just at least that much we seem to have a handle of.
Yes,
Progress-
the
No.
What's that?
Russian guild has yet to move towards 4 horse, or yet to get to 4 horsemen. So they are still quite a ways behind where Progress or where Onslaught was.
So Rise is going into Spider Wing. Man, I'm just how many streams can we look at to see if there's anyone that's up there with Progress right now?
It is looking like, unless there is something that chat maybe help us out, if there's someone else that we're not paying attention to that is caught up this far, but currently it looks like Progress has taken a decent lead, and that allowed them to take this room very safe, keeping everybody's buffs, making sure that they didn't lose even a couple players, which will help them secure the lead moving forward in SAF and use less frost resistance. We will see the first SAF and we will be able to tell how much frost res is being used.
And just for those joining into the stream now, we've seen an ape swipe so far. So apes is out of the running as far as the. Ooh, what is this? The tab over to the druid and Shaman. Okay. An ape swipe and an onslaught wipe, and a salad baker's wipe too, right?
And and salad baker's dream state wipe before getting in or wiped on first trash, so is not running.
We were wondering before the cast if we're going to see any wipes. We're seeing like most of the the AAA guilds wiping here,
and one of them was on bosses.
Yeah.
And instantly, everyone in chat is going to buy double the consumables that they thought they wouldn't need to bring. They're seeing all of these guilds wipe and lose players, and they are starting to panic. Quick, everyone, go buy more lips. Go buy more potions. Quick, before prices rise.
Everyone's shitting their pants now.
The stock market on the auction houses is just skyrocketing as guilds continue to wipe in next round.
The question is if SAF is a rough pull, then the auction house prices of frost protection pots are gonna skyrocket even more. We will see how it goes today.
For real, who's in the running though? Let's try to find maybe second and third. You know, we've seen some of these guilds that AAA again. Sort of be out of it. It's hard to say, right?
Yeah, I mean, so Rise is on a Numercon, so they're kind of like 1.5, 2 bosses behind.
And Exodus is moving towards 4 Horsemen, so... And they have... Which wing left?
Here, I'll try to look up their guild name and see if I can't find them, if they're live logging.
And it looks like they're not going to go for the invis skip either, knowing that they have the lead.
Progress taking it pretty safe here, which is probably the smartest play. Although, even pulling this extra pull here.
Well, I think that this was just a mistake. It did not look like they actually planned to pull this here. It looks like someone got a little bit too close.
But knocking it out clean and still retaining their potential dominance. So really, really smooth next run from Progress so far.
It's another stream we haven't checked on before. Anybody here play on Pagel? We got Chains Law playing from Fully Rested. I have no idea how they're doing, but this is recommended to watch. Take a look at where they are.
So I think that Russian guild is farther behind than I was previously told.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Chains looks like he does not have world buffs, at least for him. But it looks like he is a tank with So
and it's if they're going into military wing right now, they've got a long ways to go.
Yeah, a tank with no world buffs is not good.
Is there any chance Onslaught can still place like first, second, or third? You think after that wipe?
Ooh, 150. Finally.
I think.
I already know that one.
I mean, there's a solid chance.
Can't fish that yet. Can't fish that yet.
All those people that died, they zone back in, they drop and reform.
This guy can't try me. We need to go to Bloody Bay.
People with full world buffs, and they
also need to cook.
They continue to give it a go. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're doing, and if they're just jumping back in. But man, the time it takes to get back.
2 17-pound catfish.
Is a lot.
Even that alone is
one of these.
Back really far.
He's back on the warrior with 2 hours of world buffs on everything. So I don't think he died on the warrior, right? He must have just swapped over to the mage.
He just swapped,
yeah.
What was that, Mother?
He swapped, yeah, and Progress is on max there right now, by the way.
Okay. take a look at that Hunter POV from Progress.
Progress just pulled an extra pull again for the second time and recovered really quickly.
Got some
That
thick
is-
boys in Progress. They just
Yeah,
can't
the
manage to
second,
keep on by.
Wait,
the second butt pull.
So, did it look like then that Onslaught just skipped 4 horsemen and they went straight into?
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think so.
So they're just gonna leave 4 horsemen and they'll get back to that later. They're just gonna go and try to, I guess.
I don't know if there is
burn
another
down
way
Plague.
to for them.
We're
to
gonna be
swing
right back while we cook, real quick.
4 horsemen.
Grab a
like
drink.
Progress did. Potentially.
Apparently,
Yeah,
Apes
here's the
wiping
danger
again.
zone.
Do you
Are
guys
we
want
gonna
to see
any
Apes?
deaths?
Progress looks solid.
Yep,
Let's
they're
take a
about
look
to
at
Yeah,
come
Apes. Apparently,
right
they're
now.
wiping again as we speak. We'll see. And Monkey News is dead. And the Keck W's are coming.
Okay, so Maxina is down.
Yep, now they're on the Saffron.
Ooh, interesting.
This
So
is
Time for one of the big boy bosses, the second to last boss in the dungeon, and this is probably one of the most dangerous bosses, just because a lot of guilds end up playing this greedy and going for as little frost resist as possible. So it could be interesting to see.
Tetsu is logging.
yeah, Tetsu's logging over to what
Tetsu's
looks like
logging.
a paladin.
So we are seeing roster swaps here, just like how we expected, swapping away from heavy DPS and moving for that more healer-heavy comp, especially with paladins, because as we all know, chat, paladins are exceptional with their mana conservation. With world buffs, with high intellect, they crit all the time, and
And they
every
resist,
single
too.
time that they crit, they get all of their mana back. So bringing in paladins for these really, really long, healing-intensive fights, like Sephiron, like KT, are going to be extremely beneficial.
Isn't that Frost Resist so good here?
They're
too?
using quite a bit of frost resistance. as
Yeah, they
well.
are. I just saw the hunter put on like 6 pieces, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm looking.
So
I'm watching.
do you know, Alive, what the base frost resist they are looking towards?
So, as caster DPS, we have between 100 to 135, depending on what pieces we have. And as melee, it only goes up from there around 150 to 160. But again, don't take this as what you guys should do in everyday guilds. This is because we have faster kill times and we still have our world buffs. So even though you see some of these players going for lower frost resistance, that's only because the kill time is quick.
Rise is losing half the raid, potentially wiping on Faralina Trash right now.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Rise
got-
went for a big pull on Faralina, and it did not work.
Yeah, they're gonna
for
wipe
them.
here.
So here's Tetsu over on his Paladin. He has full world buffs on this guy. Songflower, everything. That's pretty juicy.
And as you can see here, his mana bar right above his healer health, or right above his player's health, it's gonna
Yeah.
barely move. Went 98 straight back to 100% because he received a critical strike. And what a
Ooh.
lot of oh no,
Two
are we gonna
down.
get... Oh no.
Oh no. The rogue didn't actually die, just almost dead.
He got
Wonder
a
if-
sweet death proc, of course. of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rise, full wipe. I don't even know who's in second place now.
And look at this
No,
mana
me either.
conservation here. Absolutely crazy. Paladin's busted class.
Yeah, they are. They are. As a shaman, they are definitely busted.
Man, so I mean, I guess we're looking for other streams, other people that are on SAF. This is kind of like the
13
great
heals.
clarifier.
Alright, I'm
What
back.
a lot of people don't know about paladins.
So we
is
got some
every
cooking
single
levels out
caster
with
class in
this.
Classic WoW needs
We get the training, well, we've got the training already.
59.5 intellect per 1% crit. However, paladins,
So we're gonna go
who
Bloody
probably
Bay,
benefit the most out of from
get
crit
the next
out of
rank of
any
fishing
caster in
from
game,
the book.
instead of 59.5 intellect per
Maybe
1%
find some
crit,
recipes
they
for
only
these
need
as well.
30 intellect. Literally
I think the guy should have
half,
them.
making the class
So you can get
absolutely
cooking
crazy
maxed
for
out as
mana
well.
conservation. So if you were to compare this to a horde guild, just because you have paladins alone, you could go with 1 or 2 less healers in an alliance team compared to a
Wait, we're
horde
going the
team
wrong way.
just because of this mana conservation.
Wow, that's so cool.
So Onslaught's on Lotheb. They still have to do 4 horsemen.
Onslaught has 7 mages for Lothab. And 5 warlocks. 7 mages, 5 warlocks for Lothab.
Do you want to
I
go to
wonder if
Lotheb,
this
or do you
is-
want to
if
finish
they're
up the
just
SAF fight?
Yeah, they're
Wrong
just
way.
set up for SAF. At this
Mhm.
point.
Lost a few on Sap, but I think they're okay.
Yeah, two
Seems
down
okay.
so far, 59%. It is looking decent. It is looking good for progress so far. But again, there are little things that could go wrong, especially on this last quarter, or this last wing. There are little things that could go wrong, so we will see how they play. They have focused on playing safe, though, so far, which is really, if they play safe, this is their race to lose.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they know they're in the lead, right? So that's going to affect.
And we
their...
see a Petri flask way off in the distance back there. You guys see the guy off to the left?
Standing there.
He wasn't quite sure if he was going to make it to the ice cube in time, just because the ice cube's positioning was a bit far away from where he was, and oftentimes a blizzard can spawn between where you're standing and where the ice block is. So that's why we bring these petrification potions. If you're not sure that you're able to make it to safety in time, you pop that flask of petrification to ensure that you will not die to the ice fall on this one.
And nothing can kill you through Petri? It's like you can just
Nope.
avoid a mechanic no matter what it is, kind of?
You are safe.
Oh, wow.
Also, rogues can vanish that ability as well and just stay in and DPS the boss. It's risky, but it's definitely doable. Rogues can vanish that. So, vanish batching. Have fun, my boys.
And it is important to note those frost resistance values that I mentioned at the beginning of this fight, that was the unbuffed frost resistances that we go for. That's not including Juju Chill. That's not including Paladin Aura. So with Paladin Aura and Juju Chill, they are pushing 200 or a little bit above 200.
It's making me rethink our strategy a little bit.
Damn, Alive, your boys might take it, man. You guys have to understand, chat. I'm Alive is part of this guild right here. He's an active raider in progress. It's cool to have him on the desk.
Actually, I was one of the people who made this guild and came up with the guild name back on the private server days.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, I came up with the name Progress. We were the top guild at the time, but we didn't want to have a name that sounded cocky because we already had a lot of people that hated us. So we went with Progress because even though we're the top, at least we were at the time, there's always still room to improve. We're never doing the best.
Love that. You see most of the rogues, or some of the rogues, swapped over to warlocks or mages, and including a mage on top of the meters was a rogue.
Saffron is about to go down.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, no one is even close to getting to
Yeah.
Sap.
Is this it, boys? Are we about to be there?
This is it. Moving towards KT. Race
we
to
even
Wolfers.
look at-
Claw of the Frostworm also. Massive drop.
Let's check in with other people real quick before they get to KT.
Oh.
Let's see.
So Onslaught's
here.
on Lotheb. He's at about 23% left.
There are some deaths.
There are some
well,
deaths.
Dahoon,
their
the main
tanks are
tank
gone.
just died.
Oh, no.
17%. People are now taking a lot of. They are going to eat a lot of deaths. It's going to be hard for anyone to pull aggro. Dali grabs the spore to make sure that he does not pull any aggro because he is one of the few with world buffs. They need him to stay alive, although he may have wanted to try to tank.
Substantial rogue must just be evasion tanking.
Evasion tanking.
I mean, he's holding on to it for a long time. He might. It's so close. There's so much damage going out though. Dolly's getting another spore.
The way they can do it would be to have the rogues evasion tank. I think they are going to. Yeah, they are going to down it.
They're gonna get it. Yeah.
Ooh.
Jeez.
Risky, very, very intense fight.
Meanwhile, Progress is at KT.
Progress has walked into KT's spawn point, so Progress is officially on Kel'Thuzad.
As
Chat,
long
can
as
you
guys go
KT
scout for
goes
anyone at-
smoothly, we can't let any skeletons inside the ring. We can't let any A-bombs cleave down everyone. Just as long as everything is done properly, safely, and cleanly, this should be Progress finishing it out.
There's got to be another guild on Saf at least at this point, no?
It's hard to say.
All of the expected frontrunners are quite a bit away now. Let's see what we have.
it's tough because unless you're a guild that has, you know, a full second raid of world buff people, it just slows you down so much, having to res and rebuff and then try to do all this trash, all these bosses without any world buffs.
Yeah. So we're looking at it potentially, guys. We're looking at the world first attempt right here. The first one. This is history in the making right here of classic World of Warcraft. The first full clear of Naxxramas.
Diving through Twitch to see if I can find someone in the race.
If they were on SAF, they'd have a ton of people, right? So
I don't see anyone near.
Unless there's a sleeper out there. Like, I mean, for all we know, there's a Chinese guild that's streaming a Chinese streaming service.
Right.
I mean, CN United is really a strong guild, so it wouldn't be surprising if there was a guild out there not streaming or in a different streaming service that pulls out in.
Yeah, it would come out of nowhere, but we would definitely be able to see it. They like to go for these really crazy pulls. The Chinese guilds come up with some incredible strategies, like teleporting all the way from Bug Trio to Viscidus.
Yeah, if anyone in chat happens to have a link to CN United or Noobs or one of those guilds, it's hard to find their streaming services even.
Yeah.
Be careful.
So this part of KT is a pretty standard part. Like we watched earlier, they are just having their mages focus down the Weavers or the Banshees, and like hunters in range killing the skeletons before they can get in. Nobody is using aim shot. So if there's anyone watching, or no, multi-shot. If anyone's watching, hunters, you will pull a ton if you use multi-shot.
Multi-shot is very dangerous here. If you pull one of these hallways, that's pretty much just a wipe there. And we also had one swap as well. We had one of the rogues swap over to his warlock.
I'm gonna see if I can fish any of these pulls. We're being a little cocky with the fishing, but get the level, so
they are handling this part of the fight very well. This is not the scary portion, but it is looking like they are going very, very powerfully.
We got one. Nice.
We have to wait until phase 2, but
you can get a mithril bound chest. That would be amazing.
Everybody else right now. What is the timer?
Looks like it went away now. They switched characters, right?
Yeah.
He had one running.
Well, if we assume it started an hour and 21 minutes ago, then that's about where we're at. Man, that hour 30 guess is looking really good.
It's looking really good right now.
Got one.
I mean, that's
amazing.
That's a pretty impressive time, man, considering that they don't have Nax gear, right? They didn't have the full value from EMF buff.
Onslaught is now moving towards the 4 horsemen, but they have to pull all the trash that they skipped earlier with a invis pot. So they are gonna take a lot of time to get back to 4 horsemen. It is Progress's fight to win here.
Yeah, it's
actually getting a 14 slot bag.
And really, it's
bags for
come down
days.
to the next few phases, because if you compare this to Lightbringer, and I know a lot of guilds out there are practicing on the Lightbringer PTR core, the phase 1 ads that we're seeing here are much, much more difficult on that PTR than what they are on Classic Live. These ads actually die quite quickly on Classic Live. So for all those people out there that are going to be progressing through Naxxramas this week, the ads here are really not that big of an issue as long as you guys are focusing down the right people. What's really going to be the hard part is phase 2 and phase 3.
Okay, we're gonna basically just wait for the boat.
And KT is going to be
level 31. Imagine having these at level 31. Damn.
Starting right now. Cleaning up the final ads as Kel'Thuzad does his little RP.
There he is. He's in action.
There.
100% to go.
It's just execution.
Everyone alive.
Just
pure
positioning.
It's basically right now easy gold.
Staying calm. That's all this part is right here. Just stay calm.
You You can see the kicks announced. There are kick groups here, and melee are spread out into 4 different positions so that they do not freeze each other in those ice blocks. There's one Weaver still alive, and there are the first 2 mind controls. First, all of the mind controls, but that was picked up very quickly.
Look at the is that a slumber sand or poly hibernate? What is going on there,
This
man?
is where we're gonna start seeing magic dust start being used by everyone in the raid.
Yeah, basically anyone who can do anything to help CC those mind controls until they get polymorphed is going to be massive. Because once every one of those guys that gets mind controlled, they do insane amounts of damage, and if any of them are healers, they heal Kel'Thuzad for also just a ridiculous amount. So you want to CC them immediately, whether you're a mage or anyone else in the raid.
He said so far so good.
Smooth, very smooth right now.
Paladin's making it look smooth, man, I swear.
63%. Are you guys running any frost resistance on KT or just going full thumb?
So it's not really that necessary. The AoE Frostbolt is a binary spell, so you don't have any chance to partially resist the spell if you put on frost resistance. Putting on frost resistance will only slightly increase your chance to full resist the spell, but it's impossible to partial resist, making frost resistance a little bit less useful on this boss compared to the other boss.
We had 2 drop, but seems to be going smooth anyway.
Yeah. A mage, possibly 2 mages?
Might have been a threat transfer during the mind control.
I think that's what it was, yeah. Oh, they battle resin him, or at least one of them. I think they have 13 or 14 healers with this current comp.
I don't even know if I can buy the recipe for this, but it's level 25.
Yeah, they're running pretty heavy on healers. It was 13 on Saf, which I was
Champions are
the
out.
same. We're going to see the shackles going out, and as well as some being picked up. Big heals out.
2 of these is base.
Very clean.
One of these is basically the same price as a stack of light leather.
Probably the scariest portion of the fight.
Crazy.
We've got
5 for
the
these.
ads as well
These are
as
worth
the
so
mind
much.
controls, but you can see everything sleeping with those those sands. So it's going very well.
Yeah, third shackle to come out here, but I don't know maybe it's not happening.
Magic Dust is super important here because you're not going to have a mage in every single position possible. So having that Magic Dust to kind of take over the MC target assignments if they're not near a mage is going to be very, very helpful, in addition to managing all of the other mechanics that the boss has.
Kel'Thuzad is down.
5%.
He's down. Easy.
5%, 4%, yeah.
That is it. World first. World first.
Congrats.
Congrats
Alive?
and progress. Well,
Jeez,
if nothing
Grats.
is...
Jeez.
Progress. Alive. Grats. Thank you for being here with us. And they got a slave maker drop.
Nice,
Ooh.
nice.
Are you-
Big
you-
Hunter loot.
You can spill the beans now, Alive, on all the juicy secrets, man. Everything you've been keeping from us. You can go ahead and tell us all now.
Yeah, the real speedrun strategy is to bring 20 hunters. We just didn't want to let people know.
I got you.
We're keeping that in our back pocket.
Man, congrats to you and the boys.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Well, let's try to see who's going to be in second place here.
Onslaught's
Looking.
back on 4 horsemen. You actually have Salvador tanking because he's still
he
got
has the
world
world
buffs.
buffs. Yeah. Rise is on my Exna with a couple deaths, but should be done.
They might be the first, or I guess the second guild to get to Saf.
Unless they wipe here, actually. My Exna is enraged and killing everybody
Which
during the
one is that?
freeze. Rise.
On Rise, okay.
I think they're wiping here on my Exna at like
You hate to see it.
5%.
friend!
This is scary. Now they have the ad spawning.
Hurry back!
This
Doesn't
is
have the
the
cooking
first
recipe.
full wipe we've seen on this boss. We've
Right.
seen a few
Yeah.
clicks, but not a full wipe.
Yeah, I mean this might be the first time we've seen a guild attempt it without any world buffs as well.
Hate to to see it rise down. We've
So
seen
that like
Down.
that kind of plays into what we were talking about earlier about leaving Spider Wing as the last wing, just because, you know, if you've lost world buffs, if you've lost people up until that point, it should be the easiest one theoretically to get through. And even then, it kind of comes back to what we've been talking about all day. This whole raid is on a different level, and world buffs, which were in previous tiers, just something that, you know, added to the cap of what you're able to do with speed, with damage, with healing, with everything. With Nax, I mean, there's a lot of fights, especially before you actually get max gear on characters. Those world buffs can be the difference between you living and dying. They're no longer just like an added bonus to your speed. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. That is crazy. So looking back on the past World First events we've done, right, for BWL, for ZG, I've never seen one so far where you've had this many wipes from the top guild. It's more of, you know, just how fast they can get it done, right? This is pretty. I mean, how are you guys feeling about that? Is that
Well, like we said before, if you look at the mechanics in Black and Layer and AQ40, if you mess them up, it's going to be bad for your raid, but you can heal through it. There's ways to recover, and you can keep moving on. But in Naxxramas, a lot of the different mechanics that we see on some of the trash, the bosses, etc., are so penalizing that you just immediately have a death, if not more.
Yep. These are the best players in
Yeah.
the world, man, and we're seeing full wipes. We're seeing.
Especially after world buffs, they are struggling on these bosses when they do not have world buffs, and like you're just saying, the best players in the world that have practiced all of these.
I mean, Onslaught, I think they're going to get 4 horsemen down, but Dolly died a ton of... They, you know, half the raid's dead right now.
So we're checking out another stream that we haven't seen at all. This is Taiba TV. This is GM of Praxis, rank 14 warrior, and apparently these are one of the front runners as well, or they're up there. I don't know if there's any way to deduce where they are in terms of progress. It looks like they're in the military quarter right now.
Apes is on Saf.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
So
Apes with the first big wipe to come back, maybe gonna take the second one.
Yeah, I guess they didn't fully wipe, right? It looked like Apes kind of like half wiped on Patchwork.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the fact that they actually killed Patchwork, even though you lose, you know, 30 plus people in the fight, man, if you actually wipe fully and have to redo Patchwork without world buffs, that would have been so much worse, just exponentially worse. It looks like, yeah, they're just prepping for Saf here. I mean, who knows if they're aware that after they almost completely wiped on Patchwork, now they're in second place.
Yeah.
let's see how they do with it. Apes, a seasoned private server guild, been around for a long time. They've built Saffron probably dozens and dozens of times.
But since they all have no world buffs, they're going to have to go really heavy into frost resistance here.
Yeah.
You
The
can
frost
see here,
res.
double trinket, double ring. He's wearing a few green items even. Frost resistance is going to be really, really important since your kill window is going to be much, much, much longer.
They only have 12 healers, so I think they're running 1 or 2 fewer healers.
One less. Do you have the log from your guild alive?
Let me pull it up and see.
That is, huge grats, by the way. Beautiful.
Oh yeah. Do we need to confirm time on that?
Oh yeah, we do. It looks like Apes, yes, second right now. Onslaught, a lot of people died to 4 Horsemen. I didn't see if they actually killed it or if they wiped on 4 Horsemen again. And Rise wiping on Maxna. They're about to pull Maxna again. But Apes here, the first guild we've seen doing Saf with no world buffs.
Yeah, they've already got 3 dead.
Three down.
He's calling for the Petri, heard that?
If you are out of position and you do not Petri, you are griefing your guild at this point.
Oh, they've got so many people going down. It's just, without... The big thing with world buffs, and I don't know how many people really think about this, but for everyone, even outside the tanks, the amount of extra HP you can get just on every person, just to help soak all the extra damage that goes out, especially on fights like Saf, like it ends up being such a big deal.
I mean, so imagine if there's no world buffs allowed in raids. Like if Blizzard did make that implement that, you know, hypothetically. I mean, this would be rough, right? This would be rough.
This would definitely be a lot harder. All raids would be a lot harder, but especially Nax. This is pre-Nax gear. It is a struggle, and Saf is a hard one, even more so because you don't have that Frost Res gear we were mentioning earlier. So that is a full wipe.
Cargo.
Yeah.
I did end up linking the logs into the Discord. I don't know if they're private or not, but if they're not private, you're more than welcome to pull them up.
Okay. I don't know if you can check it somehow with reveal. Don't want to reveal anything.
No. I mean private.
They are not private. They are not private.
Oh, I see. You can just okay.
If it opens, it's good, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like well, no. I'm trying to see timing wise.
Let's see if we can get over to it.
And it's just slowly. There we go.
I think there's probably so many people trying to open these right now.
Yeah, Gnome Boy destroying at the overall DPS, 838 overall DPS. And the mages are very high up on these meters. So, and actually, you're actually seeing hunters up on these meters as well. Which, even with the swaps, that is pretty big. So, these hunter buffs.
It's nice to see hunters doing better.
Yeah, look at the overall damage taken though. As we get it pulled up on here, we will see the overall damage taken. The Frost Aura was by far the most damage that the raid took. By far.
All right, here we go. So we have it up here. Should we go to rankings, encounters, rankings?
Encounters and trash.
Encounters and trash.
right up
and
top.
trash fights. There we go.
Rise is now working on Saf too. So, and it looks like they're probably going to pull on their first attempt before Apes gives it a second go.
You might have to reload the page for the full summary. That's what I had to do.
Right, so we haven't got all the
They got
fishing recipes, which is a bit annoying, so we can't cook all of these.
Hour 22.
I'm not really sure where I can get them from.
So,
It
who's
might be
the
a lot of people
closest?
Something special.
It's if it's above 120,
May
then
the eternal
Tyrannosaur
sun
is definitely closer to me.
Maybe trade goods,
What did Cargos
vendors or
say?
something.
Oh, Carson 150.
Kind of pulled a Murloc in Theramore.
I said 115, yeah.
Isle place
Alright,
by
here we go.
accident.
Nice PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Just trying to do.
So here, this is
What we
it's
want.
a lot of data here. We're
Speak,
looking at
friend.
the Nax World First log. What are we looking for?
So we can see here that
Definitely can't cook that.
Extra warlocks at the very end.
Cooked.
Two of the melee ended up swapping to bring in two.
These are
extra warlocks
useless.
from
This
Android,
can be sold for the
and,
gold.
Nilash were subbed in at the end.
and as
Plus-
well, I don't know how.
I don't know if we're gonna get the recipe for that,
Gamgee
but
also went to a mage
Sell it.
from Rogue.
Strength.
So there was another.
Doesn't seem to be anything here.
That happened right before Saf.
nothing at the fish
I
guy
will link these. I will link these logs to the chat as well, since they're public.
in
Some people are
Ratchet.
interested in it.
Yeah,
Kind of feel like going to Duratar.
definitely. And then
Training the
look at
fishing trainer there, or the
damage
fishing
taken
dude.
from Everyone, just melee and
Then again, I
Frost
think that's
Aura,
just the
that's
trainer,
so
so-
much damage taken from Frost Aura. That is
Um,
from Saf. That is just
Could look them up actually.
without world buffs. That
What's
is
this?
going to be a hard fight, and most guilds are going to see significant struggle here. This is where we're going to see like the first real progression, and we'll probably see that even today, as we just saw with Apes.
Wait, so this is overall damage taken from the entire raid, factoring in all trash, everything, and the one boss's Frost Aura made up 18% of the entire damage?
It is, yeah, a lot of damage.
Because melee is every single right click from every single mob and boss and everything, right? This is...
Yeah.
Yep.
Holy shit, dude. That puts it in perspective for you. Frost Aura is almost the entire aggregate of all physical melee right clicks of the entire dungeon.
Down.
And really, that's just because all of these other abilities, even the melee, are only hitting a select few people. Like Aura of Agony could be hitting multiple people from the military quarter of the Horsemen, the horseman trash. But even then, they die so quickly that you're really not taking that much. However, Frost Aura is a debuff that is always going to hit everyone on your team every few seconds.
Oh, they're wiping again.
Completely unavoidable.
Yeah, Apes is going down again. It looks like Rise is also gonna wipe.
Yo, Saf slaps.
Saf is going to be the differentiator. This is absolutely going to be the hardest boss to take down without world buffs.
For certain.
This boss is terrifying.
Yeah. Alive, could you give us a number on Frost Resistance again that you guys are running? Just I mean, for my own personal reasons, I'm wondering as well, but I think the chat does.
Okay, so
Yeah.
like as a warlock, for example, we went with double rings, trinket, wand, cape, belt, and then we went for 5-piece tier 2.5, demonic sacrifice, void walker to help our healers. But between the casters in general, we wanted to go for around 100 to 135 unbuffed, and our melee, I believe, was going for 150 to 170 unbuffed.
Okay, and healers?
Yeah.
Healers, it's less useful for, because for a paladin, for example, you're getting so much.
Alright, so I looked it up. Seems like the one snapper recipes in Thunderblast. So we're gonna go see if we can find it. Cooking trainer, and then go from there.
You would have saved yourself by wearing extra frost resist pieces. So, out of all the different classes, it's least important to wear it on a paladin and on a healer in general for Alliance side. Just because if you look at the damage that you would have mitigated from wearing it on that specific person, it doesn't outweigh the mana usage and the mana efficiency that you would have gotten from just wearing a plus heal item or a raid healing item with int, crit, plus heal, etc.
So here's the next Remus progress on Warcraft logs. We got progress at the top. Gussie, shout out to Goldmag EU, 13 out of 15. I don't know if we saw perspective from Gussie. We got the Exodus Guild, the Russian guild. We checked in with them, and then we also checked in with Fully Rested on Pagal. Yeah, those are the guys they didn't have world buffs on.
We've risen from my server. White man
like,
risen. All Alliance guilds up there. Well, Onslaught is already on. Onslaught's on Saf.
Yeah.
So that is slightly outdated. The big thing will be who can kill Saf next. That is going to be. There's going to be a lot of guilds here getting to Saf very shortly. So the big question is who's going to be able to bring Saf down without world buffs.
Okay, let's check on.
Alright, let's see.
So it looks like
I have no idea what the cooking trainer is.
Is benched for Saf. So he's actually just watching this from Faye's perspective. So Faye is the GM, he's the raid leader. He does everything for Onslaught.
Need another perspective here. Let me get another Onslaught perspective.
Oh, there we go, cooking supplier.
Greetings.
And
Faye
Rise
doesn't
and
stream,
Apes
though.
White snapper, pretty good.
again, so
Fish.
Rise.
Ooh,
Rise
catfish.
is sitting here. It looks like
That's a
rebuffing,
whiskey catfish, is this right?
ready for another pull.
Yeah, okay,
Gentleman,
good.
Ale. Shout out to Ale. Yo, Ale's still in there. Another run. I'm on Saf right now.
Go.
How much does the recipe cost? Oh, silver, wow, okay.
This is their first attempt, I think.
Yeah,
This
it's
is-
Butt ton of this stuff to cook, though.
That has world buffs for this boss. A lot of the guilds have been losing their world buffs before they get here, or even on this boss.
Got a couple of
So
these.
it's nice to see another guild keeping their world buffs up to this point.
Well, this is Onslaught, right? This is Ale.
This is
So this is, I bet, in
Oh,
this
75, and then we've got 103 of these. So we should
just,
get
means that
hopefully to 150 out of this.
Look at that.
Ale
Probably
got
not, though,
earlier,
but
he
maybe.
might have gone back to grab a couple buffs.
He did, yep.
Yeah.
Look at that Saf health bar just slowly.
Take us 5 minutes to cook. Quite long.
3 million hit points.
Easy cooking levels, though.
It's definitely a battle of attrition.
Definitely bring it up to speed with
This is a long
fishing.
So does I assume Horde have a harder time with Saf, right? Because they don't have the pally resistances. I mean,
mana too.
We
We,
have
do have
mana.
totems.
We have
We have totems, but
Oh,
it's
right.
just mana is.
isn't
is
the
a struggle.
pally one more though? Doesn't it give you more?
No, it's the same. 60.
Yeah.
The order 60, the totem 60.
Oh,
But
okay.
like he said, we don't have illumination as shamans, right? So we don't get any mana refunded if we crit. So
Yeah, shamans have really, really high healing output, but they're not as good mana efficiency wise.
Gotcha. Been pretty impressed with the performance of mages though in Extramus though. I feel like on every fight we're seeing the blue boys up there.
Yeah, Ignite is a very balanced talent.
That's why they decided to share it on the logs. Imagine if you were how angry some mages would be if only that one mage got the log from the ignite. Like that 8k DPS was
man.
just him. Oh, every one of those.
Don't get the mages in my guild started about how they decided to do that though. That's one of those conversations. As soon as it starts happening in Discord, everyone leaves the channel because it ends up just being like 3 mages like talking about how they were wronged
for hours. That was
yeah.
phase 3. We saw a mage do like 4,000 DPS on Chromag because it was before that. Oh, this is going really well for Onslaught actually.
Yeah. They could still potentially clinch a top 3. I'm gonna keep refreshing Warcraft logs. You never know, right?
Yeah. So Apes, they have Saf at 74%. They've got 3 people dead.
Imagine Onslaught taking it above Apes. That'd be
There's those Petries as we see. 2 people down here.
So it looks like there's 3 guilds on Saf right now.
Because this has gone green at 110.
There's the Russian guild Exodus, and
we also have Rise is here.
I was hoping to get to 150, but
I would anticipate quite a few.
125 will do. Well, we've still got 52 of these things to cook, and they're green, so we'll probably go grey at 120
Finishing off the boss quite cleanly.
if we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Onslaught's looking good. Rise is at looks like maybe 60% with 3 dead. Apes is at 64% with 3 dead.
It is looking like Onslaught Forerunners here.
After everything, after wiping and then coming back and they almost wiped on Lotheb, they almost wiped on 4 Horsemen a second time.
Yo,
It looks,
congrats to
boom,
Onslaught.
they're going to be the 2nd guild, I think, to even get into KT's room.
That's a win for NA right there, right? Come on now, where's the NA at?
Yeah, gotta give them credit for the dedication because a lot of guilds would have just said fuck it after, screw it after that first one. So
well, after all the preparation that you put into this, just to go and have a complete wipe is extremely demoralizing. So yeah, hats off to them for keep pushing through.
For sure.
It
I don't see
looks like they're going for that world 2nd.
Let's go. Come on, Onslaught.
As long as they can have a clean round on KT, they can take it.
Yeah, Rise is wiping again on Saf. Apes is at 44.
It's still green at
42%.
above 120.
They now have about
Maybe 125? Actually, that would kind of make sense.
Oh, let me go to them, yeah. Let's take a look at Apes.
Still got 21
So
left.
Apes and,
Okay, now
Apes
20 to get
that number 2 spot.
4 levels.
If Apes can
You get to 125.
right? If they can get Saf down, then it might be close. And also, I mean, it depends on if Onslaught can just one-shot KT.
Is Gussie? Where's Gussie on?
I can't find a stream for a Gussie.
40% health left on the boss and half the raid is dead. This is looking like another
That is.
wipe. They cannot recover from here.
Yeah, Apes is going down again.
yeah, you can't complete Saf with that many people dead. There's just
No chance. There's just no chance.
Your healers just will not have enough mana to finish off this fight, no matter how well you play.
Even on Warcraft logs, it usually shows if people are streaming. It doesn't. Oh, 1 player streaming from Gussie. Okay.
Where are they at?
Wink. 60 no.
There we go, 125. And it's still green. Wow, okay. Crazy.
Let's see.
It's actually kind of crazy.
A lot of struggle out
I was not
here
at all
on this
expecting
boss
that.
Saf. This is like we expected.
Shame these things don't sell for much, but get the catfish as well.
a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Probably going to be yellow or green already because of the levels. Oh no, it's actually orange. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
It's 29.
You know, we downed it. We downed it in the
Might as well get the training first.
Right, 50% healing bonus. So it's like
Well, you
it's
can't give
kinda
me
gimped, right at that point. So
need a book for cooking as well.
Look, here's a Gussie stream. Nick for the win. Gold Mag
Wait.
EU. Let's see how
So
Don't
yeah,
remember needing one.
On staff looks like 60%.
Actually, you do need one for first aid, don't you? So you do need one for cooking. Where's the cooking
Able
one?
to make it before the bomb?
Trying to remember.
Oh, Petri, I saw it. I saw it that time.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
That was a close call.
I want to say it's
Yep,
Dust
didn't
Shadow.
make it to the ice
I mean,
wall.
right the Highlands or something.
Goes a couple hundred gold.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's the race, man. It's the race.
True.
Repopping that distilled wisdom too, the most expensive mana pot you can buy.
Let's see if they can close it out.
Onslaught is doing phase 1 right now, just killing the random mobs, the random KT trash.
Here's the logs, by the way, chat. If anybody wanted to see the world first Naxxramas logs, here they are. For ya.
Sarth, you muted again.
Oh, Progress used 27 petrifications. Gnome Boy, the one who did the most DPS, the warrior with the most DPS, used 6 himself.
Mm-hmm.
So just play it safe, keep your buffs, and you can limit tests. Not that many distilled wisdoms, only 8 used in this entire raid.
How's Onslaught doing on KT?
Onslaught is doing well on phase 1. Is just is a cakewalk for
It's
the
a
most part.
snooze, yeah.
Yeah,
They're not getting overwhelmed or anything. It's pretty standard.
yeah, it's a lot easier than private servers.
I
so
need to get
that
Ale's
is-
perspective.
L's game looks good as hell, yo. You must have used my UI video.
Yeah, making it nice and dark and
Where's the Diablo orbs? I don't see him.
Bump that contrast up a little bit there, bud.
he's actually
Yeah.
playing hardcore as well. He's never once died on this character.
Yeah,
Can we
look at
get
those
the
stats he's had him
world first
forever.
hardcore? That's hilarious.
I keep 20 of these. Got pretty good food.
Got his
What?
Wind Fury weak aura. You have to have that.
Yes, you do. As a shaman too, you always use that too. Make sure people have your Wind Fury. Otherwise, you get yelled at.
Very often do I not have Wind Fury, and I do a lot of that yelling, indeed. Or like battle shout when I'm on my rogue, and I'm like, how do you not battle shout? We're super
you-
fastest
don't you
on
need it?
fourth. Yeah,
Right,
like what are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't entirely remember where we get the rest, where the thing, get the book from this.
They're hanging on here.
I feel like
Doing well,
it's
but so many deaths.
Yeah.
That's of this, maybe?
This could be it, guys. NA.
I feel like I ran there once and got the cooking.
Coming in
or
Comment.
second.
Second.
I could
This
look it up.
could be it. It's about to be into phase 2 very soon. 40 seconds away.
Did NA come in first or second before in the past? Like, what about think about MC?
It's tough because AQ40 technically came out at different times. With BWL, it was
Yeah.
EU.
Yeah, BW.
Yeah.
With MC, it was EU.
Yes, this would.
Looking at a second place silver medal NA finish.
Yeah, that's not to downplay Onslaught at all. Onslaught is a very, very good guild and one of the top contenders for speedrunning in general. So even though they didn't take the title today, that doesn't mean we can count them out. They are very, very strong as a speedrunning guild.
Mm.
They're also the only horde guild, even in the top.
Even
13,
in the close. Yeah.
Oh,
for
really?
progression right now.
Yeah, they really are.
So
They
they'll
are
be
a very, very good guild.
they'll be
Goosey
number
went
1 horde
down
then.
on their attempt.
So they'll get number 1 horde if they clear this.
Yes.
They'll be number 1 horde in the world.
And Rise and Apes are both at around 60% on SAF. Apes with 1 down, Rise with 2 down, 3 down so far. 4 or 5. Never mind.
Yeah,
Oh,
Rise
That's
is-
gonna be it. This KT run is everything now.
they're starting off strong though. It looks very clean so far, but luckily we're not to the hard parts yet. As long as they can maintain this order and this level of cleanliness as the ads start to come out, as the MCs start to come out, then we will definitely see a kill here, but it's only going to get harder from here on out.
Yeah, so people asking in the chat, Progress got number 1 in the world. Their run was, I think, right around 1 hour 22 minutes. So they've been done now for what 30 minutes, and
Yeah.
we're still waiting for a second place team to get KT down. Onslaught is the only other guild that's even seen KT yet.
Let's see if they can finish it up here. Rooting for you, Onslaught.
Yeah. This will be very nice. It is. We're seeing almost, or not even almost. We are seeing every guild swap out melee DPS for healers, moving on to SAF, and also that means maintaining those healers. For every one of the top guilds is doing it.
KT getting about 50% now.
Yep, we've got to go Desolus for it, haven't we?
Well done.
Oh yeah, dude.
That's not any close anytime soon.
Yeah, he was from Onslaught.
We shall meet again.
Nothing we can do about that for now.
They're gonna hit the final phase here soon. The boss is booking it.
Guess there's some fish though.
It's horrid. I wonder if they're using slumber sand instead of magic dust.
You were all about that slumber
Yeah,
sand.
the slumber sand. There we go. Look at that.
Slumber sand, the tried and true.
Oh.
Does magic dust sleep for 20 seconds? Does it? I don't know, because slumber sand sleeps for 20 seconds.
I think
Man,
that
it's
I
long.
think it is the same.
How
You
may
just
I
the
aid
big
you?
thing you need is.
We only have
to get the
space,
sleep
we can
off
put
so that
this
you
in.
can get a sheep.
Holy
Um,
shit. Frostbolt, dude. That frostbolt volley is nasty.
Rise went
I wanted to
down
put these in, but there's no chance.
It looks like they're gonna be able to pull this through cleanly. Looking at the
Very
raid,
very late on.
don't have anyone down at all. They are running a little bit low on mana on the priests and the paladins, but it's gonna be enough mana to finish this fight off cleanly as long as we don't have any deaths to silly mechanics.
You could be looking at the first horde clear too, folks, who are still.
It looks like it might be number two. Someone in chat just mentioned that KT was killed by a French guild called Tribe.
Wow.
This
By the
may
way-
be world third.
By the way, I meant shamans, not paladins. I see pink, and I immediately think paladin.
Yeah, KT is down. About to be down. There he goes.
That's it, yo. Congrats, Onslaught. Looking potentially world third.
Some juicy loot?
Hammer the Twisting Nether.
Nice.
Ooh.
So they did beat out Gussie then, right? Let me check out Gussie.
They
Another
did beat out
Narakan
Gussie.
Hitmaker.
Okay,
Gussie went down on staff again.
gotcha.
Yeah.
There's
that
a-
Tribe guilds. I don't know if we
Alright,
have more
folks.
info on them. Their stream has a massive delay, so it's hard to know.
Chat, could I ask you a favor, chat? Could you type something in the chat if you're alive, if you're still here, if you're still tuned in? Thanks for
Right,
watching. I really do appreciate you guys being here. I know there's a lot of people doing coverage, a lot of people streaming, so it does mean a
So-
lot. Thanks for the support and tuning in. We're gonna pass it off to Sarth, who's gonna do a post game.
We really need to get
down.
either a second stack of medium leather or
The progress run in its
just start
entirety.
doing
There you
And
go.
let's.
engineering pretty much.
That is absolutely amazing, guys. Congrats for that. Thank you. Of
We
course,
might
for
do
having Vargas
soon.
And everybody.
Yeah,
Of course, man.
it was a lot of fun being
I'm not entirely sure. I feel like going to Orgrimmar, but at the same time, not really. I think we're gonna log out here since we're already in Thunder Bluff. Gonna get rest XP.
Really good event.
Maybe in a day or two we'll be able to play. Today we're gonna end it here. We did a bunch of fishing, bunch of cooking.
It was a pleasure.
Got that out of the way, so
I mean, I love speed.
we'll be back in a few days.